veins, I've been driving this train. Years in this lane, there's no stopping this flame. Cause I came to the game and I changed it to play how I like, rearranged it to my own domain. Yeah, I got what it takes, made lots of mistakes, taking shots, skipping breaks, feeling lost, feeling great, popping off, singing straight, never stopped, never changed. All the squad here to play, and I've got something to say, yeah. I work hard each and every day, I get lost in the words I say. I don't push pause, no I push play. I won't stop till I make a change. I withdraw on the things I make. I turn flaws into flawless traits. I build tall, never capping space. I won't stop till I hear him say,
welcome in, welcome in. Where did Ron go? My goodness, Ron bounced in and bounced out. And as soon as I said that, there he is in the green room. Well, welcome in, everybody. Welcome in, welcome in. What did you guys make of this finale on the bridge, the scene on the bridge, guys? What did you think of it in short before we get started?
Well, I thought there were a couple of surprises, but overall, everybody seemed to know what they were doing. They seemed to have thought it through. But yeah, definitely some surprises, which I'm sure we'll get.
We definitely got to get into it. That's right, JR. That is right. That is absolutely right. Let me do this. I learned something new last week. I guess I knew it and actually I forgot. So I've been doing this thing for almost 2 years and I forgot, guys, that we cannot see each other's names and nor can our audience see our names, which we have at the bottom of the screen, at the bottom of our little thing there, right? If there is a comment on screen so that you know everybody, we want to especially welcome in our special guest this week. I want to give a special thanks to the wonderful, magnificent, articulate, and super smart Sean Stokes. Yay!
Yay! Thank you all. Thank you.
I'm so excited to have you here. We've talked more recently, and Sean has some very unique opinions, and we're going to get into those in a minute. Well, Sean, what did you think of this episode? Just in brief, just a generalized.
Well, I mean, things went according to what I was thinking, except for just a couple of things. But we'll get into those things in a little bit, as you said. What have you? I mean, it was what it was. Yes.
And by the way, Sean just happens to be from the very area of this season's cast, from that Dallas-Fort Worth area. Is that correct, Sean?
Yes, I live in the DFW area. Mm-hmm.
Okay, all right. Oh, I hope that's okay if I said that. Okay, I'll edit that out later.
That's fine. That's fine.
All right. Calvin, how are you doing?
Doing very well. This is good to see everybody again, and it's been a long process, but it's worth it. It's worth it.
Awesome.
And
Ron.
Hey,
Ron, are you still with us?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay. So, what were your thoughts about this finale?
Oh yeah, this was a hot mess. It was bad.
Oh my goodness.
I know we gotta have 3 couples at the end and all that part of the show, but yeah, they could have done without this.
Oh Lord. Yeah. Yeah, there were definitely some there was some snafus, but we're gonna get to that in a second. Hey, Monique. Hi, all you guys out there. I'm not gonna be able to call you all by name. I'm gonna tell you something real quick, guys. So I'm a little discombobulated. You know, over there on the Instagram street, there's some stuff going on, and I'm trying not to get involved in it, but it's very fascinating to me. If you guys were watching yesterday or today, that if you guys watch Love and Marriage Huntsville, also on the OWN network, right?
Yeah.
You know, our beloved Melody Melody Cherie, I gotta get her name right because it's no longer Melody Holt, but it's now formerly Melody Holt, but now Melody Cherie Rogers, was given a honorary doctorate degree, and it kind of started some Instagram beef over there between her and Simone of Rashid and Simone Ages and Stages podcast. So that was I don't know what you know about that, Ron, but that was quite fascinating to
I was
me.
with Simone, so I got thrown into the thing
Oh no! Please
while it was
don't get
happening.
involved. Please don't get involved in that
Simone came back. Simone came back, and with
I
Uh,
said
I mean,
we
Melody did
me
say,
and Kyra both told her to stay out of it. We tried our best. Put it that way.
you tried to get Simone just to leave it alone to stay out of it, right?
Yeah, we did,
Like you
we
guys
did.
are good friends then if you tried to do that because that's what I'm thinking too. Like,
But
why
you gotta
would
understand,
somebody advise?
Simone gets got basically I'll call it a divorce almost. You know what I mean? Didn't even know whether the marriage yet. So she's going
Mm-hmm,
through some things right
yeah.
now, and she's trying to cope through that. So it's not if she's trying to be free now. You know, she's trying to travel. She's trying to keep her mind off stuff. Some
mm-hmm.
things happen, slip out. So people have to understand the state that she's actually in right now is
Kind of
you know
emotional, maybe.
it vary. You know what I mean? Because
Oh, okay.
it's for the she's been trying to hold good face and stuff like that, but I can see through it because I know I'm a good friend of hers a long time.
You
So
say she
I
tried to
know
do. You say she tried to do what, Ron? I'm sorry, I was
she's
talking.
trying, to move around, to travel, to get it off her brain and stuff like that. But I know it's still affecting her hard, and it is what it is. She's told me that. I've seen her go back to Dallas to be with her family to try to cope through this, and it's tough on her. And people need to be supportive of stuff like that. This is y'all. Everybody's so pro woman. This is one of y'all ones that literally thought she was about to be married, thought it was over, thought it was that, and then got thrown back in the single pool at 40 something. It ain't fun. Trust me. She did not want to be back out here in those streets, and I don't blame her. So I mean, she's
Yeah,
going through it.
but what I guess what some of us people like myself can't understand is what does that have to do with Melody Cherie? Like
I mean,
what?
hurt people hurt people. We know this.
Oh, okay.
So you know what I mean. It's just how it happens. But you can't blame somebody who's not 100% themselves for saying, you know what I mean, for getting
Mm,
involved in some stuff. And Simone
mm,
is Dallas, and Simone ain't afraid of the smoke, and she ain't running for no smoke from nobody. She's never been that type of person. So when
mm-hmm.
you mix the two together, it's just like when you're drunk, it's only just gonna
Yeah,
bring
it's
out
combustible.
bring it out even more. So it's just one of those things.
It's combustible, but
Unfortunately.
I'm gonna say this, and if you listen to Simone, I like you. You seem like a nice attorney lady, a nice person. We've kind of chatted and kicked it a little bit in the DMs, not much, but just a little bit. I definitely know who you are, and I know that's got to be painful. Like I can't even imagine going through publicly what you've been through, but I'm just gonna say this: two things. One thing for sure and two things for certain. One thing for sure, the millimeters, they ain't no joke, okay? And if you don't know about them, I'm here to tell you they are no joke. So you might want to leave Melody's name out your mouth. And two, I just think that, to what Ron's saying, because he's a friend of mine, so he's our mutual friend in common. I just think that, if you're taking some time and you're traveling or whatever you're doing, baby, do that. Relax, unwind, relax. But listen, consider getting off these social media streets for a minute until you got your mental health and your clarity back. Because discernment is key, sis. And you very respectable. You high level, you're a powerful attorney. So just kind of lay off the social media because if you're not feeling yourself right now, it's kind of like giving the keys to a car, i.e., social media, to a drunken person. That's what I'm thinking now. You don't have to believe me, but that's just an
Mhm.
older lady just trying to look out for you. I'm not telling you nothing I wouldn't tell my own daughter.
Yeah.
So that's it. That's all, guys. Whew, Lord Jesus. Just trying to get through some of these comments, and everybody's saying, hey, there she is. I was looking for this one right here. Yes, my Roro for real. That's my girl right there.
Mhm.
Ravine in the house. Miss LMV, China Dow, Miss Wilson. And there's Ravine. Ravine is hollering at her guy Sean. She's like, "What's up, Sean? What's up?"
Hey,
So we're
Ravine,
gonna
how are you?
yeah, we're gonna go ahead and get started. Guys, okay, so we get all of the singles on deck for the finale at what Jessica calls the undergraduate graduation. So we got all the guys there. They're having like a little brunch. Everybody's looking good. But we noticed that Marie and Katerina are seated together, but Jess is at another table with Quentin. What did you guys think of that? That the whole thing with Katerina and Marie sitting talking, and you could kind of see Jessica kind of looking over her shoulders, like, "Oh, he's sitting with her, huh?" What did you guys make of that?
I think it was just kind of like product placement by the production. Um, I think they tried to give the angle that Morier was still kind of feeling out Cat to see where he was going to decide. So by seating them together, it gave them the opportunity to kind of see if there was more of a connection, considering it's the last episode. And Jessica, obviously, I think they tried to create the narrative that she's going to be prying or kind of nosying, but she was there with Quentin, and yeah, I think it was just a production thing. I don't think it was like a legit move. If Morier and Jessica are feeling each other as much as they claim they are, then
Mm-hmm.
it would have made sense for him to be still hanging around with Kat at that point. So I think the narrative is that he was still undecided at that point, and he's still trying to make his mind up.
Okay, so that's why he's having that. That makes sense. I hadn't thought of it that way. Sean, what were your thoughts about these two, Katerina and Marie, seated together, and yet Jessica is nearby?
Well, I mean, I agree with JR on that. You know, I mean, I could see it probably as the show went on with that maybe Marie's decision was probably solidified after meeting her cousin. I don't know how much I don't know whether it was 98-2, 80-20, what, toward Jessica versus some Katarina. I don't know,
Katerina.
and his decision sitting with Katarina or not. I think, like you said, yeah, I said it could have been production driven just to make a creative tension, per se, creative tension.
Okay, okay. All right. Ron, I'm sure you have some ideas about that scene right there. What were your thoughts?
I'm gonna give everybody a heads up. I'm gonna be kind of hard on Mario this whole
Oh,
podcast. My bad.
you gonna be hard on who? On Marie? Wait a minute.
Yeah,
I gotta ask you.
Mario got to get it. He got to get it.
Okay, well, wait a minute. That's fine if he gotta get it. But what I gotta know is, what's your beef with Marie? Did he not accept your invitation to the party?
No. I'm literally just. It ain't nothing about Mario. Probably cool dude, stuff like that. But as men, and is this only because it's a podcast? I wouldn't go up to the guy and tell him this stuff, but I
Sure.
got to keep it real. You know what I mean? What stuff is what it is. You know what I mean? I don't. Some of this stuff I don't make the rules on. You know what I mean? Who you are, what you do, your date, your sexual marketplace, how you dress, all that stuff is stuff you do. But as men, we judge that stuff. Like, so I'm just gonna tell the truth of what's going on. But I don't want to hear anything about Mario making a decision between Cat. He didn't have no decision to make. You see when he stood up next to Cat in that scene, he looked like a midget Oompa Loompa compared to her. Dude, it ain't no way.
And you know what, Ryan? what I'm finding out is that, you know what, I never knew that you was prejudiced. You are prejudiced against the everyman. I did not know that about you. I thought you was for everybody. I thought you were
The sexual marketplace is sexual marketplace. I don't make the rules on that. I don't control that. Mario don't control that. It is what it is. So I'm not. You ain't gonna have me sit up here pretending like they were actually they was actually considering getting together. Like, come on now. I ain't. This is TV, but this is going beyond TV now. Like, come on. It was no decision to be made here. They gave Kat a little more, time on the camera because she came in late. That's good. She's pretty. She needed to be on TV, and that's it. But don't Mario had to make a decision. My ass. It was no decision to be made. You saw how her friend was acting like, come on. Her friend was like, is this real? Like, what's
going on? JR, do you agree with that?
I can see the point. I can see it that way for sure. They're not like Kat and Morier aesthetically, like from a visual perspective, they're not a good match. But she was more open to other sides of him, of his personality and his spirituality. So that was the connection they had. Whether they look like little and large or, tall and short. I think.
Not to cut you off, but as my a friend of mine and her husband, people used to say they look like the number 10 for the same reason. They had the same aesthetic, right? The number 10.
Exactly. So I don't think their connection was necessarily a physical one. I think that was basically spawned off the fact that, when he was connected to Jessica and Janelle, they didn't like his spirituality, and that may be a huge part of his personality. Whereas he was able to give Katerina crystals and talk about amethysts and rubies and all types of different stones, and she's down with that. So like I can see Ron's point for sure. Like physically they don't look like a match, or that sexual marketplace and all that stuff. You typically do hear women want taller guys in a lot of cases, but I think she was I think she was there just to hear about the personality side more than the physical.
Well, I don't know. Kimberly, you got any thoughts about this? It's nothing wrong with a guy being shorter than a woman, is there?
No, I'm short, so everybody's taller than me.
But if
just depends.
Like Michelle Obama, like 5'10" or something like that, I believe. There are women. My daughter is a tall, slender lady, and it's sometimes you're just not gonna find that guy that's 6'4", 6'5".
She looked a good 8 inches taller than him on that scene.
She did not.
She did too. He came up to her. Go watch it again. He came up to her shoulder.
Okay, I will, but I gotta hear what Kimberly. I gotta hear what Kimberly.
Her chest.
Huh?
I don't think anything is wrong with it, but if you have a preference, I believe you should stick to that preference because it's not going to last. I don't even think Jessica is attracted to Maurier. I'm not even attracted to him. I gave him his little name, the Baptist pastor. He's a cool guy, like the guy you go to talk, laugh with, have a good time. But as far as long term, let him move to Africa.
Well, can he take Chris with him?
No.
Take Chris with you, please. Be my guest.
No, we gotta keep Chris.
With you. No, take him back to Nigeria. Take him back.
But there is a certain thing as looks compatibility. I heard recently this week on another channel about looks compatibility really matters. So I see what Ron is saying.
Okay, so looks compatibility, that's what they're saying. The people are saying that looks. I get it. I get that we typically see people, if they're a 7, you see them with another 7. If they're a 10, they're with another 10. I get it, but I'm just saying that, people got to be careful of that. And this whole idea and this dream of the power couple and this aesthetically beautiful couple, because you might be the most beautiful looking person on the outside, but are you beautiful on the inside? And is your mate beautiful on the inside? I think those are the more pressing questions that people need to be asking.
Definitely.
Like all this because them looks are gonna fade. I'm sorry. I'm here to tell you, those
Mhm.
looks are gonna fade. How you look at 20 is not how you gonna look at 40. It's not how you gonna look at
Mhm.
60. It's not how you gonna look at 80. Okay. All right.
And those
Image
are
is
facts. But the fact of the matter is, Cat got more options than that. You know what I mean? It ain't no. It ain't gonna work. Like I wish I could just roll up to Kelly Rowland and say, "Yo, I'm here." Some people get out of your league, and you just got to be okay with that. Like as men, we understand that, and is what it is. Like you know what I mean? It ain't going. Your personality is not gonna get you that. It doesn't work that way. Not with
Well, you
all
saying that, but yeah, here she is with her aesthetics. Obviously making a play
playing for the
for him.
cameras.
Well, play for the camera, whatever it is, but we gotta take it for what we see. And at this point, it's
Mhm.
like she's making a play for him. That's what I see.
Okay, I didn't see that. Oh,
Well,
And well,
if you notice, if you
her and
notice,
Jessica. Go ahead.
if you notice, this is the second short man they set it up with. Remember,
Who was the
Marvin was
first?
shorter than
Oh,
she is.
Chris. Oh yeah.
Marvin,
Well,
Marvin was short, way shorter than she
Marvin is
is.
Marvin. I think Ron has told us is a shorter status, stature with physique. He's got a
The,
shorter
on- the
physique, and
only,
so
the
does
only one,
Chris. So does Chris.
yeah, the
I mean,
only
like
one
the
that
only
would have
person is
been, the only one that
go
would have
ahead.
been height for her.
Hmm.
The only one who would have been height proportionate for her would have been Herbert. Herbert's about like 6'3", 6'2", 6'3", you know.
Right.
So,
Or
but
Quentin if he
Quinn
were
looks
the difference
tall.
available.
Quinn looks
was
tall.
at that time. Remember, at that time, Katarina said she didn't want any children. Herbert said he wanted children.
Mhm. Mhm.
Okay,
That's
yeah,
true.
that's right. That's true. That is true.
Image
But
is
she said
always
at one
important.
point she said she was kind of open to it, but it wasn't a pressing issue for her, which I thought was interesting.
Image is important, but also sustainability. Even though they're together, these couples they came down to the wire, but sustainability is always important in terms of personality, values, and principles. And um, Katarina came on late, so to speak, and by
Yes,
the
she
time she
did.
came on, the connection was already established. But I really didn't see where she established a relationship with anybody. When you think about it, she's a pretty girl, that's a fact. But so far as the
Yes,
connection, who was she connected to? They kind
correct.
of
And
they kind of might just threw it in there for production, as you use the word, but she wasn't connected to Moria like that. I didn't see that. Also, Moria and Jessica, are they really how's that going to pan out? Not just for now, but over time. You know, even you're looking at Janelle and Quentin. They came down to the wire, but then I don't really see that he feels her like that, or I just don't see it. And the fact that the third couple, Phil and Aries, well, they bailed out because they exhausted the possibilities, you know. So we'll see. This is a moment in time. So it's a production schedule. They came down to the wire. So what's going to be coming, but we don't know. Maybe we'll see about it next in the next episode, you know, how they progressing.
I like this comment right here. I'm sorry, I gotta stop the press. Mimi says Sonny and Cher. You guys, some of you guys may not remember who Sonny and
Yeah.
Cher were or
Mm-hmm,
are.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
But Sonny and Cher were married and they were back in the 70s. They had a variety show that came on that was quite popular.
Mm-hmm.
And Cher happened to be quite a bit taller than Sonny.
Yes, yes.
And yet they were happily married, had a child together, and I mean they were happy until they weren't, and then they got divorced, right?
Yeah.
But like I said,
It's
I,
not
I
just the
don't know.
height though. You got to pick a struggle. You can't be
Mm-hmm.
short, fat, not rich. I mean, you don't got nothing. What
Golly, now somebody
can't
told me in
can't
the chat that I was
can't
mean, but
dress?
you ain't said nothing about
No,
Ron. I ain't called nobody
I thought.
fat. Go
Hey,
ahead.
it is what it. I'm like I said. I ain't. I'm done with being the soft side. I told you ahead of time. I was gonna be
Okay,
real with the
okay,
situation.
okay,
You
okay.
got
So he's a
you got,
little bit heavy set. Okay, he's a little heavy set. All right.
but you ain't here. There's
Well,
plenty of
you
women
know,
for
if
Marie.
you look,
There's plenty of women for her, but you ain't gonna get
yeah,
a
if
model.
you look at it, yeah, if
If
you
you look
look
at it, go
at it, the
ahead.
way they pushed
Mhm.
it, the way it was pushed, Murray was supposed to be interested in Sierra between her and Jessica. Okay, now Sierra leaves. now he has this spark interest in Katarina. So I think he was just playing, trying to get to the end. I think that's what that was.
Mm-hmm.
I like him and Jessica. I
I
predicted
mean, I
that
know
as a
we don't
couple.
see
Remember
Karen.
last episode? I think him and Jessica works
I don't. I mean, I don't know.
because I don't.
do too. Hold on, Sean. Yeah, I think they do too. And actually, we'll get into a little bit later. I like them. I like them. I think that there's some things about Marie that seems to soften and bring out some parts of Jessica that we haven't seen this season. You know, we just seen these last couple episodes, and maybe she's just able to relax now that she knows she doesn't have scenes with the Dragon Man.
Mm-hmm.
What? Wait. Are you talking about the same Jessica Morier that was on Ready to Love this season?
I'm talking about her. I'm saying that if you look at the last two episodes, we've seen Jessica smiling more than we ever have. She's called this man her pudding, her baby. She told him he looked good, and so forth and so on. We're gonna get to that when we get to the appropriate scene. But what's your point? I'm lost.
This is the same Morier that, um, like we said, he's into a completely different belief system, which she frowned upon and said no. That's kind of a deal breaker, right there.
Mm-hmm.
I think what I will do is say this: like Morier seems to change with the wind. Whoever he's speaking to, he is able to switch up and kind of like I think, and that stems from him stepping in it with his beliefs and not being so forward initially with Jessica and Janelle. I think what he's trying to do is basically be a chameleon, and
Yes, he does have those attributes. I will agree with you.
yeah, so that's why Jessica's probably happy because he's kind of saying things to kind of smooth things over with her and get back into her good books.
Mm-hmm.
Just using some charm and probably a lot of BS as well. But
But
she
she's
does seem happy.
reciprocating
I
it.
will give you that. She does seem happy.
Mm-hmm.
Even with the moving to Africa, at first he was going to move to Mali. Then he's talking about dual citizenship to Ghana and Sierra Leone. There's a lot of places that he's trying to move to. And I thought she would be
Yeah.
a problem with that, considering she spent so much time building up her business in the States. But she seems to be going with that too. So I'm really surprised, to be honest. There's so many things long term that don't make sense to me why they would.
It works on paper, and this is why.
Yeah.
Sometimes a lot of options don't make you happy.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? You got people, because only thing you're going to do is just magnify what you want and change some of that if you got so many options. These are two people who don't have tons of dating options. Jessica is not a cat. She don't cook. She's a little bossy. She ain't really affectionate. It ain't a line of dudes in Dallas about to be lined up for her and that. And Morier is Morier. It ain't about to be a line up of women like, oh my God, I got to get on that. So you got two people without a lot of competition coming in. And they both smart. They both have a good conversation together. They can build something without a lot of outside noise coming in because ain't nobody checking for them.
Mm-hmm.
That right there is enough to build on a relationship. Really, it helps. It ain't like Kat when she was like, her girl was like, oh, we about to go see. You remember that scene after that? And she's like, let's go see what's going on in Dallas streets.
Right.
Yeah, that
Right.
you know
It was
that
like
you know
Cat not ready to settle down, perhaps.
you know when they walk in the Dallas streets up in Deep Ellum, it's gonna be 50 dudes in tailor suits and hollering at them. And what Marie gonna do
Right.
about that? Nothing. What can
Nothing.
Marie do about that? Nothing. So
Nothing.
I like the fact there's no
I agree with
competition
you.
coming towards Jessica. He has time to grow on her now without no outside noise. And that right there, I've seen relationships build on that.
Yeah. Well, I'd love to know what Morier's special recipe is in that chicken because it obviously won Jessica over. So that chicken must taste real good. And the fact that she doesn't cook, he's gonna be serving up a lot of it if it's working.
Yeah, homegirl does not cook. We find that out. Go ahead, Sean.
I think it's because he became such a good friend with Jessica and Janelle. You know that I really think, notwithstanding everything that went down, I think that Moray really threw Chris under the bus because he said it was
Mm,
consensus of the room first, and then he
yeah,
goes back and said, "Well, I didn't say it,
Like she
but
said, he called
I
it out.
apologize. Yeah,
Well,
I
that's
apologize
a
to
very
you.
good point.
You
The
know,
fact that
I
he's cool, Sean, that's a very good point. The fact that Marie is cool with her homegirl, in the whole scheme of things, just like getting along with people's family, you've also got to kind of get along with their close circle of friends too. So maybe that's what we're seeing. That's a good point.
The Alliance
and
won. We saw Alliance win, and I was mad that happened because people in other episodes are the studies. They study the previous episodes, and I don't want people saying, "Okay, we can get a 4-person alliance going on and control the whole movement of the chessboard and the set." Because
mm,
we do see a lot of rinse and repeats and stuff of different playing styles of how to play this game of Ready to Love. And this is, I don't want to see no more alliances. This is weird. This is that I didn't like that.
mm,
But
Mm-hmm.
we see the 2 couples that stayed at the end were the 4 people that we said it was an alliance in the first place from the
that's
beginning.
true. No, that's
Yep.
true.
That's an
That's true.
excellent point. That's an
And
excellent
can I
point.
just add one thing, which is
What's that?
remember, like we had Morier when he was under attack from Kyra, the cheerleader, saying about the pro-black and all those other things. Janelle
Right.
and Jessica were probably his staunchest supporters in the ladies' lounge when there was an agenda from Kira to try and get back at him for what he was saying about being pro-black.
exactly.
And then in return, he's done them a solid by holding it down for them when Jessica went through the issue with Chris. So I think that definitely would have gone some way to endearing him to her by having her back against Chris.
Hmm. Good point. Good point. Good point.
Well,
Uh,
that's a kind of like a loop. That's kind of like a tie-in with Jessica and Moray. Now, if you look at Jessica's coffee line, it's called Ezra's Coffee Line, and a lot of her blended coffee is named after Black literary figures and Black historical figures.
Mhm.
So it's kind of when they formed this alliance against, as Jr. said, Kira. That kind of like shifted things. Okay, so that kind of grafted him. And okay, you ain't good with my homegirl, cause you ain't good with Jessica and Janelle, because Jessica and Janelle never had a cross word this whole season. So
Mm-hmm.
they just been homegirls. And so they took it on the chin when supposedly Maureen had a connection with both of them when they went to meet his ex-girlfriend, the tarot card reader.
mm-hmm.
It's interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
Okay. Okay.
But it's
Um.
just that,
Mhm.
well, we'll see. Because I just find it interesting that it can be as the alliances can be established at their convenience. Because Quentin and Janelle, are they really a solid couple, or is it a relationship or convenience? Because we was just kind of open to the possibility in the previous episode with the other young lady. He kind of went back and forth with her, and he saw things that he liked in her more so than he liked in Janelle. We come down to the wire, so I think it's just maybe some loose ends tied up, but is it sustainable with all 3 of the couples? Sometimes it's convenient to do things, but can it really pan out in the long run? Is it really love or convenience?
Mm. I
Well,
want to make a.
oh,
I want to make a. Excuse me
go ahead.
one second, Sean. I want to make a point,
Go
guys.
ahead.
While you're here, welcome into the chat. I don't know if we dating or we gonna get serious, guys, on this YouTube streets. But if you don't like the video, we're gonna have a serious problem. I'm gonna get my Aubrey meters on you guys, okay? Like the video, like the video, like the video. It's so important to get this video and the channel into the algorithm. We spend a lot of time here um, breaking things down and hashing things out, and we all have different opinions. You may not like mine, you may not like Ron's, you may not like Calvin's. I don't know, but like the video, if you spent more than 5 minutes here and you're in the chat and you're going in and going back and forth, or even if you're not in the chat, go ahead and like the video. It's so important. It's like
Mm-hmm.
it's free. It's free 99 today. Okay, so
Okay.
don't sleep on this channel. Don't sleep on Actually Aubrey's channel. But Sean, you were about to say something, or Can we move forward?
Well, I mean, Ron is the only one of us who has ever been on the show. But I think really, sometimes it's the same script, different cast. So
Yeah.
I would not say Quentin and Janelle are Clifton and Joy. I wouldn't say that. Quentin and Janelle reminds me of Denise and Calfani and the young lady
Hmm.
who and Lee reminds me kind of like a
Oh,
Denise. She played it.
Ariana. Are you talking about Ariana?
Ariana, yeah,
Okay.
yeah, that kind of reminds me of that,
How?
a
How's
bit.
that?
Yeah, I think we're gonna have to come
Well,
back to that, guys. Let me move
we'll come back
forward.
to that.
Because we still on the first note card.
Yeah.
Tommy says he's proud of everybody. He says that this week is about making life-changing decisions and finding out who you choose, and if who you choose also chooses you, right? So we move forward. Janelle, in the
Yeah.
next scene, Janelle says that that when you're faced with love is a scary thing. Her cousin Courtney is there to meet with Quentin, who they call Q. Okay, cousin Courtney asks Q his age, to which he says 34, and how he feels about Janelle's age, which is 41. Um, Quentin, he wants to know if Quentin wants a big family. Quentin says, yeah, he wants 3. And Janelle says, well, we might be able to do 1.5 and a dog. Guys, what did you think about this scene? I'm going to start over here with Kimberly. We're gonna get Kimberly in here. Kimberly,
Thank you.
come on, girl.
Yes.
You've been
So
missing.
my thing is, first of all, Janelle says this is the first time she heard that he wanted 3 children. Like it was the first time he put a number on it. I'm just concerned. How are y'all under each other all day long, all season, and you didn't know how many children, especially since Janelle was so vocal about how many children she did not want. I think she was like 1 or 2 the whole season. She's been pretty consistent. So for Quentin not to voice his opinion, it makes me feel like he's just playing the game too. So I love
Mhm.
that the cousin Courtney was drilling him like, oh, how do you feel about this, Janelle?
Mm.
So he did good. I really love that he, spoke up about the children and the age difference because it's important. But I did not like that he says you can't go to Europe with 3 children. Let's kill that narrative. You can do whatever your budget
That's what
allows
I
you to
was
do.
thinking too, Kimberly. Birds of a feather, because I was thinking the same thing. I was like, what?
Mhm.
People go to
Yes,
Europe, go to Africa. It takes extra money, but you can do it. You can plan for it. And Kimberly, she's a great expert on planning these vacations because
yes,
she does it all the time. Okay.
yes.
Thank you for that, Kimberly. What were your thoughts about this scene? Okay, Sean.
Well, I mean, that has been the drawback between Quentin and Janelle. Number one, the age. Number two, the number of children, quote unquote. According, if you go back a few episodes, remember, it was the surprise to Herbert that she said she wanted to die because the idea was Herbert was thinking that she wanted to give birth to children. So I
Okay.
don't know. It's always a surprise. It's always a surprise. So I mean, most women don't want to have their first child beginning at 41. You know,
Mhm.
by the time she's 42 if they're still together. So I
Right.
mean, it
It's the world
basically
we live in
becomes
now, though. Women are waiting
yeah,
later to get married, and they're driven
yeah.
by their career and their professional accomplishments. So it's the world we live in right now. Is
Mhm.
that women are having
Mhm.
babies in their late 30s, 40s, and sometimes even 50s.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Now
No.
the only one that really wanted go back to the mixer. The only
Hmm.
one that really wanted children right, was Lee. Lee said she wanted 3 children. Quinn said he wanted 3.
Hmm.
So,
That seemed like
but
that would have been a better
overall,
match for him, doesn't it? Doesn't it,
that
Sean?
would have been a better match.
Mhm.
That would have been a better match right there. So I don't know what it was, the voodoo that you do. I don't know whether it's the idea of feel like that. Hey, I got this older woman, so that's a feather in my cap or a notch in my belt. I don't
Mhm.
know. I don't know whether that's why his looking at her as being more stable because she's older. I don't know. Um, because really, I really don't know how stable Quentin is economically or what have you. I don't know.
Mhm.
JR, you got some thoughts on that?
Yes, I do. Um, Listen, Quentin's in his first year of entrepreneurship, so he says. So he's still trying to build his business. So there will be turbulent times ahead
We're
financially.
entrepreneur, right?
So that's for sure. There's highs, there's lows, there's ups and downs, there's good points and bad points. And if he's going to be successful, he's going to have to ride the way through all of those. And will she be there by his side while he does? That's yet to be seen. But yeah, the kids thing is a very glaring difference between both of them. And yeah, like I was surprised. I mean, one of the surprises for me is, okay, how are you surprised that he wants 3 kids when obviously he's spoken about wanting kids? So I thought the natural question would be, okay, well, how many do you want? Like that would follow
Exactly.
quickly, right? Unless
Right.
you're not really interested. So um and I think on Quentin's side, if she says, "Well, what about 1 kid and a dog?" I think in her joke there was some reality in there. Like she doesn't really want to push out a kid. Like she is actually more interested in adopting, and that's she has her reasons, and that's fair enough. But they don't necessarily align with Quentin because he said it for the last few episodes that he wants to have his own biological kids. So with that glaring difference between them on this particular thing, I don't know what the middle ground's going to be. Maybe she agrees to have one, but is the relationship a long-term, rock-solid commitment in order to have a child and raise that, right? I know sometimes in a lot of cases, the kids aren't planned or, it's a short-term relationship and you're co-parenting and all these other different things. Like I really don't want to see that for them. So I'm hoping that they can align more on what they actually want to do in that regard going forward and somehow come to some type of resolution. But if one person wants 3 kids and one person doesn't want to have any but would rather adopt, that's something that could potentially cause arguments or down the line. So yeah.
I said this. Good point, Jr. But I said this last week, and I'm going to repeat this again for those of you who weren't here and those of you who were here. I get the issue between the age gap, and it is a very serious concern at this stage because if they were 10 years younger, it would be different, right? If he was 24 and she was 31, it wouldn't be this issue. But I'm here to say this, and somebody in the chat last week backed me up on this. They I think either work in the field or have some experience. Men have to also get out of the understanding that all issues related to fertility are on the woman. It's half and half, and there are many men who are infertile. There are men that have all types of problems, and there are men who, while they can impregnate a woman, if they wait so long and they're so much older, their sperm is so much older, then sometimes what we have is we have children that have serious developmental issues, right? And all children are a blessing. I'm not saying that nobody's child is not a blessing, but you may have a lot to deal with if you have a child that's born with developmental issues, if they are on the spectrum, and so forth and so on. That's all I got to say. That men have to also take heed that they need to be proactive about their reproduction also, and that it does. Being an older father makes a difference. I'm gonna say that, okay?
But again, my point is this a convenience relationship or is it sustainable? And that's one of the issues. He doesn't have any children. He's younger, and you couldn't put unnecessary the rest on her to have a child or more than one child. Because when she's 41 now, for example, maybe she'll be pregnant at 42, have the baby at 43. So that puts pressure on her. You may have to just say, well, we have one child and that's sufficient. Can they both deal with that? Can they deal with that? Because you can't just make her have another child and she has one by 46. Okay. Is that fair to you or her?
And let's be real, like in this particular relationship, Janelle's always going to be 7 years older than Quentin. So, if he does have fertility issues, we don't know, but they haven't even begun trying yet. for the 1, 2, or the 3. So we don't know his state of play, but we do know for facts that she's older. So that in itself kind of raises the question as to whether 3 kids is actually going to be achievable, especially because her mindset is she don't really want to have one.
And then
Well,
she's
I think the
domineering,
biggest,
she has a domineering personality, and is he really submissive, or is he tolerating her? You know, that's another issue.
I didn't hear that last part, Calvin. Say,
She has
wait,
a dominating personality,
hold on, Sean.
and is he really submissive, or is he tolerating her? You know, she's domineering to him, and is he really submissive, or is he tolerating her? That's the issue there.
Good point. Good point. I'm sorry. Now, Sean, you were gonna say?
Well, I think the bigger question probably is not just having children, but do you want to marry me first?
Yeah.
Because I mean, I think the idea is that I'm not just going to have a child by you and not be married to you, and then we got this complicated issue of what role am I in your life now? I'm just your baby daddy, or you just my baby mama, what have you? I think the question is, what does the future look like for us other than children? Do you see me being your Mrs. or Mr.?
She did say she wanted to be engaged by the end of the year.
Yeah, she wants to be engaged by the end of the year. And most of us as men, we don't move that fast.
That's true. Especially when it comes to commitment. You got that right.
I'm not saying we don't, but most of us don't.
But that's the dominating component of her. That's having her way.
Yeah, because she wants to control the time of the relationship. Yeah.
You're bringing up a very good point, Sean, because I have seen what feels like there's some manipulation on Janelle's part, that she's using the fact that she is so much older than Quentin to say, well, you know what, we got to hurry this along. We got to hurry up and get married. We got to hurry up and do this. If we don't do this within a certain period of time, I'm taking this off the table. I'm taking that off the table. That is not cool. That is not cool. That's called manipulation, and that's not a good thing to do.
Exactly.
But I say this to me, this is not about Quentin and Janelle as much as about the narrative. You understand, production knows their audience, and they study their audience, and they study the hot topics within their audience. And I was the one saying a long time ago that Black women 40 plus and this and that are going to eventually start dating younger, because it just made sense. It's no guy the minute they want that's in that age bracket of 44, 45, they got a little money like that, they're dating younger. So it's throwing off the pool. And then you got guys that are about 33 who can't compete with the 33-year-old young women because they're asking for too much. So when you put those dynamics together, you're going to see more couples like this where they're dating younger, and it's about to be a fad in the Black community in the next 5 years. Production knows this. They're already on top of that.
What's about to be the fad? I'm sorry.
That women are going to start dating younger.
Okay.
You're gonna start seeing.
I thought they already were.
It's already starting, but it's about to get real bad because they're forced to the way the dynamic is going in the marketplace right now. So they're just getting ahead of the curve by giving you this narrative, because a lot of women can relate to this and they know their audience. Just like if you're with my man, I hate to bring him up again, Moir, whatever like that. A lot of they women that works the show, they men look more like Moir than they do like Big Chris or Tall Chris that got eliminated. So give them something relatable to your audience, things of that nature. Give them a topic that's affecting them. So I think it's not about the couples as much, because we don't have no real couples in the season. But it's about some of these narratives that production knows about. They're on top of it. They're paid to study up on that. They're going to be a lot of women that relate to the Janelle and Quentin situation, because a lot of women say, hey, I'm thinking about getting one of these younger dudes now too. They peeping me out. These other guys in my age demographic ain't talking about nothing, or they dating younger anyway. Where do I go? This looks interesting. She got a nice, tall, good-looking dude. It's who I want anyway. And how does that work? And they're very curious about the demographic of this relationship. So it's a win for production. It might not work out between them two, but a lot of the audience can now relate to what it looks like now if I have to go younger, right?
Yeah, that makes sense. That makes perfect sense what you're saying, Ryan. It really does.
Can I ask a question?
Oh, absolutely. Feel free.
Yeah. Well, since Ron is the veteran of the show, do you think it was a push a narrative from production to push Katarina toward Quentin? Remember at the first day at the getaway,
Mhm.
and Katarina was talking. The way it made it look like Quentin was supposed to be naked, but he had on shorts underneath his apron when he was grilling and what have you. So, do you think it was a push to move Katarina toward him, since they're more in age alignment than he and Jessica? I mean, he and Janelle, excuse me.
No, I don't think it was a push. I think she was trying to find some kind of connection so she could stay on the show a little longer. And, she had to try
Okay.
everybody. You know what I mean? You got to start shooting your shot at that point because to say, can I find somebody with some kind of common interest so I can get a storyline so I could be on this thing, long enough. Yeah, I think she already knew she had no interest in most of the guys there. But after that point, you can only date who's there. Now, what are you going to
Mhm.
do? You got to find somebody that's there. You know what I mean? Not everybody, that whole self-eliminating thing is cool if you're overworked like I was and you got all this other stuff going on. But if you don't got nothing going on, you might as well stay and collect the check and get some TV time. The reason why you was there, it ain't nothing wrong with that. So I just think that she would have done what any other person would have done. Okay, who's left? Okay, I'm gonna go after him. I'm gonna go after him. See who bites. And that's how she ended
Yeah.
up with the short dude.
Mhm.
I mean, but because more, I mean, it does not to me, just me looking outside, looking in. I don't have a dog in the fight. But if he is an athletic trainer, it does not look like she will be his type, quote unquote. You know,
Someone in our
she doesn't
panel
look.
is
She doesn't appear.
crunching chips or paper. If you could please mute yourself, I'd appreciate it. Thank you.
I never thought that he was his type, but I do know that we know as castmates who's the powerful cast member, whose production kind of
Yeah,
leaning towards, who's going to be around and who ain't. You could grab the if Quinn is a competitor and he wants to make it to the end and that's his main goal, and he ain't really feeling any of the girls there, he's not going. to Let's say he's
yeah,
attracted to a certain girl. If he thinks she's not going to be around, let's say he was attracted to Sierra. He's like, oh man, Sierra ain't gonna make it all the way to the end. They ain't really feeling her like that. Production, this and that. I know Janelle ain't going nowhere, and she likes me, and she ain't putting me, stressing me, anything else like that. Why don't I just stay here and partner it up and just ride this thing out? And I got the strongest candidate. Ain't nobody gonna mess with me because then they got to go through her. We could go in together. I got an easy exit out when they talk about where's Janelle, where's your partner at? Well, it didn't work out because, the age difference and I wanted 3 kids. Nobody's going to blame him for leaving because he wanted kids. That's the most, you can't go after a guy for that because it's kids involved. So he got an easy exit out. He got a straight path to the finish line. He's going to look good and it's going to put him in a good light. And he's going to use that to go get the girl he really wants out there in Dallas somewhere who might not be black.
yeah.
I mean, let's keep it real.
I always thought that. Yeah, I mean, I always thought that basically looking at it, that the show is pushed in a certain direction. Just like I've always been a proponent. Don't eliminate people the first night. They just get there. My God, like the whole deal with Brandon was divorced and then he remarried the woman that he was married to, and then divorced again. So that was his 2 strikes. So and they couldn't get past
It's
that.
storylines, but
So
he
he
got
might
he
not.
the girls voted him out. You know what I mean? The girls have a vote. You know what I mean? They'll only
Yeah.
push if they have to. You know what I mean? But the girls voted him out. It was just his. He had too much baggage.
Oh yeah, you were gonna. I was saying to Sean earlier today. So Ron, one more time for myself, for Sean, who's our special guest this week. Please explain how that works in the ladies' lounge. Like, how does the vote work to be fair? That Chris was voted out, but yet Marie is still there, because a lot of people say, well, looks and this and that and the other thing, they would have kept Chris. But would you please explain that?
At that point, it's not about how many votes. At the beginning, it's how many votes you get. That keeps you on. Then it gets to a point where it ain't about how many votes you get. It's how strong your one vote is. So, like I said, Lee probably could have saved Chris. She just didn't go hard enough. But Jessica went hard enough for Marie to save Marie. So it wasn't about how many votes he had. He had one stronger one than with Chris had. Chris had more, but those they weren't strong enough to keep them on there. It's all about who's your number one at that point. And if somebody has to pick you as their number one, it has to stand by it. And that's the way it works. It don't matter how many such it because it goes at first. Everybody's trying to be popular, meet everybody, get the most votes, and then out of nowhere they go pick one.
Okay.
And yeah, so you were like, wait a minute, we mean pick one. I had four, I had five. Five girls feeling me. No, you need to pick one right now. And
So
it goes.
I'm sorry, Ron, but so then maybe the women who were for Chris, and this is what I was trying to explain to Sean, maybe the women that were for Chris were also seeing Marie. Am I mistaken? Because you got Katarina who was seeing Chris, but she was also dibbling and dabbling over in Marie's pool. And see,
None of that mattered. It only came down to Lee and Jessica. Whatever went fought for the guy hard enough was the guy who's going to stay. And that's how it worked at that point. Because we needed a connection.
And Lee didn't fight hard enough because Lee basically at that point really wasn't sure of anybody, I think.
She wasn't sure, yeah. So and production knew that. So she couldn't put on the fight there, and that was the only thing. All them rest of them votes did not matter at all. It boiled down to which one production thought was going to stick with the guy. Was Jessica going to stick with Morier before Lee was going to stick with Chris? And they made their decision off that.
Sean, does that help answer the question a little bit?
That helps a whole lot. Yeah. Because I thought it was like the men's rule: the majority wins. So. So let me ask another question. Then.
Quickly, because we're gonna move on. Okay, go ahead.
Let me ask you another question. Then. Do you think the show is skewed in the favor of the men because sometimes they sent two men home. They sent two men home, and therefore you have more women than you have men. So that brings out the cattiness between the women to compete for these very few men.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, this season they had to because the men just weren't that strong. Like they didn't do that in my season. My season was always more women than men. We had strong men cast. You know what I mean? So it just they had to help the men out a little bit. I think on this cast, Morier would not have made it 2 weeks on my cast. All them 6'6" dudes that was walking around the show. Come on now, it wasn't gonna work. But this one to make the more excitement for the men, they had to skew it a little bit. So it was a production trick, but I see why.
But what's interesting is that Quentin wanted 3 children. Why didn't he choose Lee over Janelle? For that purposes. That's what I'm saying.
Oh, why didn't he?
Why didn't he choose Lee over Janelle? She may have. It doesn't. I mean, I know it's production issue more so than substance because it's something about it that's just not ready for love, even though the theme is ready for love. It's something that's more in line of it's convenient to do it this way, you know?
Okay, I'm going to ask a question, and I'm going to ask this, but I want Kimberly to give an answer first, and then you gentlemen, you could chime in. Is it just me, or, I mean, Lee is absolutely lovely, gorgeous. I mean, body on 1,000, not 10, but 1,000, right? Okay. If I could come back and be somebody, I would probably be Lee. But is it just me, or did anybody else peep that Lee struggled to make a connection with everyone this season, right? She's not a quick starter. And like Ron has pointed out, this show is an accelerated pace. You have to be quick. Lee struggled to make a connection with any of the men. And also she spent a lot of time, like think about the date she had with Chris. Chris, my Chris, fine Chris, right? Tall, fine Chris. She struggled because she was trying to tell him about how he should woo her, why he didn't call her. She was busy giving instructions and an instruction list. And last time I checked, I haven't been on a date in a while, but this is not the way to sit down and talk to a gentleman. It's just not. Kimberly.
Oh, I agree. She did. And if you look at the ladies who were left, you could really see that they were really to fight and hook their man. Because look at how Jessica grabbed on to Chris when he had to leave for work. And she was like, oh, you're my man. We're going to go around and say hey and make the ladies feel nice. And then Janelle did the same thing. Quentin, you're mine. We're gonna play and play around with these other people, but you are mine. She, hooked him. And then Katarina was just so confident and beautiful. The guys just wanted that on their arm. And even with Ari, she was just a great personality, like beautiful woman, so calm, relaxed. And so she was a good catch too. And she hooked her man fast too. So I just think Lee wasn't strong, like you said, and that's why she was able to self-eliminate, which I think was a great choice as well. I think they all should have self-eliminated, but yeah, I agree 100%.
Yeah, I mean
We wouldn't
Lee
have
was slow.
trouble.
Lee was slow. Lee was slow. I mean, and I mean that not to drag her or anything like that, but
Right.
she was slow. But not only was she slow, like she has this soft, sweet Southern voice. I love her voice, but like but yet and still, so even when her approach with Chris, like Chris ended up giving her the gift right when they were at the getaway, but
Yes.
they would have ended up like someone in the comments, I think that's Miss Wilson, was saying that Chris only had a problem with one person, and that was Jessica. Trust me, Chris would have had a problem with Lee, because here's the thing. Lee, while
Mhm.
she's quieter and she seems softer, she is definitely has a domineering streak too, because anytime you're going to send a gentleman down and tell him about how he didn't call you, what he needs to do, how he needs to be, that is called domineering. And I don't care, because you were able to put it with a smile and you got
Hmm.
the banging body, it's still the same thing. It's just
Hmm.
packaged differently. And I think people don't always look at people, they look at them according to their aesthetics, but not according to their behavior. And this is an issue that we're having.
Hmm.
People are not looking at people based on their behavior, and also
Yeah.
behavior with other people, because while you can say that this one person went off on this person and that's just how they felt about that one person, you might want to be very careful if that person happens to be the same gender as you are, because that behavior that they displayed with that person, and you might get that on your date or in your relationship with that person. Does that make
Hmm.
sense?
Yes.
So women have to be careful. How do you know you are safe? If you think
Hmm.
that just because this person went off with this woman, he won't do it with you. Oh, it's because she's mean. It's because she's this. It's because she's that. Huh? If they could do that with the whole camera crew in front of them, knowing that this is going to be televised nationally and internationally, trust and believe, baby, they got more for you. Okay? They got more for you. So
Yeah.
don't be so silly and so naive as to think that this is the only time this person in life has ever went off. That's not the
Hmm.
Yeah.
case. That's
That's what
really
Well,
not the
I see.
I agree with that, and that's why on a different note, that's why I have more concerns for Quentin, to be honest, because
Hmm.
seeing Janelle on the live that she did, and seeing the
case.
way she behaved on the show,
Okay.
Quentin
Oh,
definitely
for
needs that
him,
type
not
of
of
advice.
him. Okay.
That relationship can get turbulent very quickly, and
Hmm.
it's not going to be fun when it goes that way.
Hmm.
But back to Lee, I think Lee has shown that she's definitely assertive. Like there's a lot of things that she said she wasn't going to do, um, but she just does it in a way that isn't mean and confrontational. So it's more respected, I guess. But there
I
wasn't a
agree.
guy
I
on the
agree with
show
that.
for her, and there's nothing wrong with that. There was like 10 guys to pick from, and none of them chose her. She didn't choose them, and there's a whole wide world for her to go out into. I think the other thing with Lee
Absolutely.
is, she's a gym lady, entrepreneur, fitness professional, keeps her body a certain way. And a lot of the guys just weren't necessarily checking for the aesthetics, looking at the assets that she has physically. Um, and that was one of the reasons why she struggled. Because if they did take the physical into consideration more, I doubt she would have left without a connection.
Hmm.
Okay. All
Well, I
right.
mean,
Right. Oh, go ahead, Sean.
well, when you
Sean.
look at it, I mean, when you look at it, I think back to what I said, Janelle and Jessica played off each other. Janelle supposedly had such a great date with Country Chris. I call him Country Chris. And when they made pizza and all that. But then when they got into the lounge next week, when Jessica started imitating Chris, talking about he was selling himself, then Janelle jumped on that bandwagon with her, and he
Mm-hmm.
got voted off.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean,
Mm-hmm.
it's just, I don't know, any which way the wind blows. But
Mm-hmm.
And Lee and Quentin did have a connection early on, but it all went downhill when he
yeah,
decided to give all of his attention to Janelle and kind of neglect the connection. He didn't water it, basically. So, you know, she was right to vote herself off. And
Mm-hmm.
like, I think Quentin really must like Janelle a lot, because there are a lot of reasons why he probably should have chose Lee. Like I said before in previous reviews, very similar occupation. Not necessarily meaning that that's going to make them a good match, but at least they understand the struggle, and they can obviously do gym together, which is a lifestyle thing. They can work out together as a couple and do all
Mm-hmm.
kinds of different things aside from that. So Lee does have a lot of qualities that may have attracted some guys, but ultimately it wasn't enough to pull Quentin away from Janelle, or even Chris, from Jessica at the time. When Chris decided to turn away from Jessica and start looking for other connections, he had too many. There was none nailed down. There wasn't a Lee, there wasn't Katerina. They were all possibilities for him, but he needed to do some work to really get those connections going, because he spent so much time with Jessica, and obviously that didn't work. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I can't knock Lee. She was assertive, but she wasn't disrespectful with it. So I'm gonna respect that.
All right. Okay. And I do respect her. I'm just saying, I'm pointing out simply, there were, in my opinion, there were some differences in how she dates as opposed to what might have been in her best interest, in my opinion. But we move on. Next scene, we've got Katerina and her cousin Monica meet with Marie. Now, Marie, I don't know what it was about this episode, but he fell in love with the stripes. He got the stripes on at every possible waking moment. I think he probably went to bed in striped pajamas. But the cousin seems like she's very direct, but she also has a sense of humor, and she wants to protect, Kat from making a bad choice again. She talks about how Kat has played stepmom to a kid that wasn't hers. For 7 years, she was in this long-term relationship, and she's a little concerned that Marie is also a dad, right? So Monica asks Marie about his relationship with his child's mother. He expresses to her that everything is fine, that he has it under control, and that when his son is 12, he will come to live with him, and they will move there. He is moving. He is seeking dual citizenship over in Africa, in Sierra Leone, or what was the other country? I'm sorry, someone help me with that.
Ghana.
Ghana, yes, Ghana. Yes, Ghana. And so that was very interesting to Monica, that this child's mother would allow him to go, across the world, halfway across the world, to go live with his father at 12. But he says that that's what it is. And so she kind of seemed to question, because Maria expressed that everything that they do with that child, whether it's doctor appointments, teachers' visits, those are all done together. And well, it felt like to Monica, like maybe you guys are still interested in one another. What did you make of this scene, Kimberly?
It was eye-opening. First of all, I was concerned at the beginning when the cousin sat down and was like, "We're not doing kids," and then she's like, "Oh, he does have a kid," and like you
Right.
said, going so hard about being a stepmom. And then just the part about, I think Mario actually said that he controls his home and the child's mother. I hope I'm not
Yeah.
misspeaking.
That's
Okay,
what he said.
that
Yeah.
was a mess. Now, I did not like that because I'm like, where did this come from? So, are you telling me you're just going to take your child to another country? Is the mom coming too? Like, how is this a good relationship? Because that's how Katerina was saying, like, oh, the mom is in the child's life and she's doing her part, so I won't have to do much. So that means the mother, all of y'all just moving to Ghana and Sierra Leone together. So it was concerning, and it was at this moment that I knew, this isn't going to work. They can say it's the height thing or whatever, all they want, but no, just go ahead and end it. And then Katarina was saying something about like she saw things that makes her say that I don't like him now, and just this one little conversation. So that always concerns me. What are y'all talking about all along?
Thank you for that, Kimberly. I think you peeped out some things there. Ron, what were your thoughts?
Yeah, this scene was a hot mess. For one, I couldn't get that outfit with the red stripes.
Talking about the stripes.
That's the worst outfit in Ready to Love history.
Did it remind you of the Big Boy logo? The guy that stands out front with the hamburger.
This dude looked like he robbed Santa Claus. This dude looked like a plump candy cane. This dude looked like one of those big peppermints is in the bathroom attendants have, and when you go, you buy one for 25 cents.
Tell us how you really feel, Ryan.
Why did production let him go out in this? They don't like him. They did that on purpose, because I've seen Joel come in on our season in a white beater and stuff about the film, and they had to go into Tommy's closet, and you don't touch Tommy's clothes, and say, hey, we got to sneak this dude out of blazer real quick and put it on to help him out through the situation. They didn't tell this dude no input.
Wait a minute, was that the bridge scene with Vernicia?
It might have been. I didn't know they was like, yo, Ron, like, you got to blazer. We got to get him something.
Wondering about that beater he had on.
No, he wore a beater in every single day going in, but at one thing he got sick of it. They said, "Yo, we got to go into Tommy's closet and grab something. Like we got to put it back the way you found it, just to get him right." But they usually would tell us if your stuff off, whatever like that. But they didn't say nothing to him. They don't like him. That was bad. So you got that, and then this dude had the nerve to say she really embarrassed him by telling her to stand up next to her. I don't know why he did it, but he had the nerve to say.
What was wrong with her asking him to stand?
She knew that girl was 1 foot taller than him, and it wasn't gonna look right, and it didn't. And his answer.
A guy with low confidence will be worried about that, but Marie didn't have a problem with it.
But his answer to it was, "I'll climb trees." The heck is that?
You know what that means.
I know, but you don't say that to a woman. Like, this ain't the show for I'll climb the tree.
And then they said, what is she like climbing trees?
A little bit much.
Yeah, like a little much. And
I do agree with Ron that go ahead. Go ahead, Ron.
You've seen Marie kind of be like the joke, like when they got him in the burger, eating the burger. They've been playing with him season a little bit for some comedy. And he's been delivering.
Well, we don't have funny. Sierra with an S, so we gotta use somebody for the comedy.
Yeah, he's been bringing the comedy.
Speaking of what Ron said, I think really I agree with Ron. That was the worst outfit in Ready to Love history. Because if you know anything about Paris is an upscale steakhouse.
Oh.
Paris is not Cracker Barrel or Golden Corral. Paris is an upscale steakhouse where one steak will cost you over $80. It's a very. I mean, I used to live in Birmingham, Alabama, and they had a Paris steakhouse there, and that's where all the upper scale folks go. It ain't nowhere to go if you want to look at a Happy Meal. I mean, you have to dress to the nine to go there. So I don't know what he was thinking. I really don't know. I don't know. I really don't know what the brother was thinking.
Well, I think Maurier came dressed to deliver some of that nice, tasty, messy chicken, because that was the KFC colors right there. And
yeah, it was KFC.
Good point, JR.
Mm-hmm.
Wait a minute, do they have KFC over there where you are?
Yeah, they do. They sure do. Yeah.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that. Who knew they had it over in London? Who knew?
Oh yeah, it's very popular here.
Or original.
But exactly. But yeah, he Maurier on this date, man. I feel like the cousin was definitely trying to mock him with the height thing. Get him to stand up next to Katerina, see that there's a huge height discrepancy, and kind of say to Katerina, "Look, this is the guy." Like, This guy's tiny. He's like Gary Coleman compared to you.
Mhm.
I didn't take it
So,
that way. And Marie was a good sport about it. But go ahead. I'm sorry.
yeah, he was a good sport about it, but he doesn't seem to be the type of person that's really going to fly off the handle. Like, we haven't seen any evidence of that.
Mhm.
So,
And you know what? Sometimes women, the smart women especially, test men to see what their temperament is like. That's a good,
Mhm.
that's a very good thing to test a man on, because if he's gonna fly off the handle about you asking him to stand up, and because he happens to be so many inches shorter, like, that tells you a lot about him. So good point.
exactly, yeah. But I was also concerned with the fact that, yeah, he's talking about moving to other countries, bringing his child along, getting full custody of the child, um, and then somehow that's going to work in a relationship with Jessica. So I really don't know what's going on with Morier. Like, like I said, he seems to go with the wind. He seems to just say a lot of stuff. Whether it materializes, I don't know, but that's a lot. I don't see how a long-term relationship is going to work with him unless you're willing to relocate. Plus, his line of work is food trucks and things like that. So, it may be sustainable, it may be lucrative, but in Ghana, will he be able to have that same level of success selling chicken in Ghana? Unless he does it with jollof and a few of the things they eat over there, I doubt it very much. But that's who they chose, so
Mhm.
can't be mad at it.
Yeah, it can't be. You can't be. That's true. I just had a little note here, and it just Marie. I guess I like I told Ron the other day. Marie is growing on me, and maybe it's because when I seen this scene and later scenes with Marie and the stripes, he really softened my heart, because he reminded me of my son, and when he was in elementary. Every year on picture day, when I would have my son pick out what he wanted to wear, inevitably it would be a striped shirt, to the point where after about 4 or 5 years, I said, look, we're gonna have to break up this striped shirt thing, because now people think you have the exact same shirt on, even though it's clearly a different shirt. They're all striped. Like, come on now. So
Yeah,
I thought that
but
was kind of cute to me. I really did. I
but you
didn't have a problem with it, but
but your son was like a kid, and
7 or 8, seven or
yeah,
eight,
exactly.
right?
Morier is not, he's long gone past that. So the striped shirts, boy, unless he's going in the kids section to dress himself, which I doubt.
Well, he
Like,
did have those overalls. Do you remember the overalls he had on? Those look like he could have got those in the kids section.
yeah, they're definitely too small for him as well. Like,
Exactly.
he reminds me of Glenn Big Baby Davis. I don't know. Like, I've been saying that all season. Like, Morier looks like Glenn Big Baby Davis to me.
Oh,
Um,
okay.
But I think, at the end of the day, this date proved that Kat and Morier are just not a match at all. And I
If
was
they ever
kind of,
were.
yeah, they never were, right?
Mhm.
Um, and like I said, even though they aligned on the spiritual aspects of his lifestyle,
Right.
there were too many other things that he preferred Jessica, I guess, right? And it could be the alliance thing. When they're forming an alliance, there's also friendships formed. There's also,
Mhm.
an element of light there, which he probably has more for Jessica than he does for Katerina.
Mhm.
Okay. So everybody
Production does that sometimes,
got
though. They'll try to push
hmm
somebody like Morier as like not the ladies' man, but like a little more pushed than what he's supposed to. They did it in our season with KG. Because we was looking at KG like, hey, I mean, cool, great guy, we love you to death, awesome
hmm
personality, but we have some wolves on our season. Dude, you ain't coming up with us and gets pulling. Like, it was trying to. It was a lot of production help on the back end on that in those situations, and it's like they're like pushing that person onto the audience, and we're like looking at it like, yo, this is not fair. Like, how's this person getting all this special treatment and stuff like that? It's a lot of politics in it, but as men, we know because we're looking at our competition as our competition. Like, okay, I got to worry about him. I got to worry about them. I got to worry about that. Yeah, Mario making it to the end is with help. Just like it's been done like that in the past. Like, it don't work that way.
Right. Well, I'm rooting for the everyman, and I'm not just saying for Marie. I'm saying in general. I think that more women need to look at the everyman because Ryan, you talk about the guy that's 6'4", 6'5". We talk about the guy that's high value, that's six figures, et cetera, that drives the Tesla or whatever that thing is that he drives that people get so excited about that I could care less about. But at the end of the day, does this person really care for you? Are they good for you? How do they treat you? Are you safe? Those
Yeah,
are
but to do a show with an everyday man and an everyday woman, don't pick
hmm
top tier women and then have him surrounded by other dudes that's 6'4" and 5 and muscular. It don't work that way in the real world or stuff like that. Average people get average people. Like that's usually how it goes. And do that show, but don't have us believing that this dude about to.
See, when you say average, so like I said, we'll come back to, and thank you, whoever that was that put in the chat earlier about Sonny and Cher. So we know that Sonny was quite a bit shorter than Cher was, right? Cher was
Mm-hmm.
thin, she was younger, she was beautiful. Sonny, he's Italian, he's okay looking, okay? But you know what? They had something together.
Mm-hmm. That's beyond
Sonny,
image.
Sonny was the brains behind some of what was going on, and Cher had the talent. So together, the two of them
Mm-hmm.
made Sonny and Cher. So don't always knock the
No, I'm
average
not. I believe in
everyday
it, but you
person.
can't build that in 3.5 weeks. This is a meat market. Ready to Love really
Right,
is. It's
right, right.
really,
I'm
it's
saying
really about yeah.
right. So we're saying the same thing, but we're talking about two different things. You're talking solely about the show, but what I like to do here on actually Aubrey is take the show and draw out of it for real life, for real dating and real situations.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I'm
I get it,
saying.
and I think Jessica did exactly what you're saying to do. I think she's giving Mary a fair chance. It might not be her full everyday type usually, and she's
hmm
giving it a chance. I think she's, as best
But
she
she
can.
says she likes a heavy. You're talking about Jessica now. Jessica says she likes a plumper. Again, I'll draw from a family member. This person looks like a model. They're slender. They like the guy. It could be a football guy, right? So we know that not all men. What is it? The positions in football. You got the wide receiver, the running back. Not all the men on the team are built the same way. Am I correct, guys? Can you
No,
help
they're
me
not
out?
at
Yeah,
all.
Well,
Right.
very true.
So just because the guy is the bigger guy on the team doesn't mean that he's not only not fit or athletic or sexy to some woman. That's what I'm trying to point out, because you guys, I think guys have more of a problem and an issue with women having to look a certain way. Women, we're a lot freer in our minds. I really believe that.
They used to be. I don't think no more. I think women care about looks just as much as men lately. It's been a trend,
Okay.
especially in
Yeah,
my city. My sister,
that's it.
she moved down from Detroit to Houston. The first thing she said was, "What's up with these Houston women caring about looks more than the guys?"
Oh wow.
Yeah, it's a thing here, and he's
That's
in Texas. He's in
deep.
Texas,
Yeah.
and
Okay.
Dallas is just as worse, maybe even worse
Yeah,
than
I know
Houston
you
on
have
it.
said that about Dallas.
Yeah,
Dallas,
so
what
it's
did you
very
call it? The
superficial.
the Southern LA or something like that?
The LA of the South. It's the LA of the South.
Well, I got some people. Let me come over here to the comments because I've been off the comments because I'm waiting for you guys to like the video. Like the video. Like the video. um, like the video. I know women care about looks, but like guys, is it the number one thing? Because like
I'll tell you a
Aries,
prime example.
very
I'm here
stable.
with my boy right now.
hmm
It literally be a situation where this fool will not said a word, and the girl would be like, "Oh, your friend's so nice." It'd be like, "How you mean she's so nice? You ain't seen, he ain't said one word yet." But he's
Oh,
tall.
he
He's a
looking
good-looking
like
guy.
tall. He looking like
Yeah,
tall
six
Chris,
four.
so he's
You
nice.
know what I mean? Yeah. So he's doing no work where everybody else working their butts. I'm working my butt off. Like, so it's like it is pretty privileged for man and female. It's just it is what it is.
But when
And
you, but when you look at
I get what Aubrey's saying. It ain't supposed to be that way. A guy's supposed to be able to grow on you, and his other attributes are supposed to hold more water and things of that nature. And eventually, it does kick in, but you got to get there first.
But you talking about love, you talking about marriage, you talking about marriage, you talking about divorce rates. So you talking about a lot of marriages not lasting for a long time. So you gotta look at, if you're looking at love, you gotta look at love first in terms of not just the physical, but the mental, emotional, and the higher consciousness is involved. Because Everything that goes into love goes far beyond the moment and convenience and contrivance and looks. It goes to sustainability. What do you do? How you deal with a person in the long haul? This convenient is convenient, but if it's love, it's having something more sustainable. And like you said before, looks and a lot of things are fading and fleeting. But what's how that person makes you feel? How they make you feel when you're in a challenge, when you're in a crisis, when you're trying to go through something that you don't know what to do, you know? It's
And
just
you very
interesting.
right. No, you're right. You're right. I'm seeing a
Mhm.
relationship coach right now, and I'm changing my whole
Mhm.
aspect of dating too, because
Yeah, that's
the
what I'm
only thing that
saying.
really matters at the end of the day is connection, right? As humans,
Connection.
that's the only thing we crave. That's the only thing you can take with you. Everything else is superficial. And
That's
I
right.
was myself focusing more on the superficial of a woman's look. So
Yeah.
she looks good. She got the big booty. She got this and that, and not
Mhm.
focusing on the connections. And my relationships are going bad because of it.
That's a
And
right.
I'm
Mhm.
so
you got to
proud of you,
focus it without
Brian.
connection. Without the connections, you don't have anything. And that's my problem with the Phil and Aries situation is like
Mhm. Mhm.
get all that other stuff. Do you guys have a
Yeah,
connection first? Because that's the only thing that really matters. And
because you're talking about
they sold us
engagement.
a dream. They
Yeah.
sold us to say, hey, you have
That's
to
right.
have a Mercedes to get this
Mhm.
girl. You have to have this to get this girl. Why? Because that benefits Mercedes. That helps us be the social
Mhm.
slaves of the
That's right.
economics that we are. Because connections are
Mhm.
free. And that's the
Mhm.
only thing that's going to get you over the hump. That's the only thing that's going to make your relationship work. Because when you lose everything, you're going to have to lean on the connections. If you don't have it, then she's going to go. You're going to leave. It's going to dissolve. Your marriage is not going to work. So
But that's where
I've
the issue of
changed even
sustainability come in. You know
got that
how you
sustainability.
put
Even
sustain. You
how
have
I
that
date.
sustainability. You have to for real love to manifest. It's the things that you go through together that you say, "Damn, we went through all of this, and we still, when the smoke cleared and the dust settled, we're still standing." Because the divorce rate is so high. And why is the divorce rate so high? You know, there's something that wasn't a part of the fabric of relationship that you thought it was. And when you got into a clutch, you couldn't go the extra yard to prevail. You know, divorce happened because you said, well, we can't reconcile our differences. But why can't you reconcile your differences? You know, what is it about you that you're not willing to give or take?
And I found this out as black people, we don't even know what a connection is. We have no examples of connections. They don't show it
Mm-hmm.
to us like that. And I remember going to college at U of M with the white kid. They're taught different.
Yeah.
They're with you see those white guys with their white girl everywhere. They do everything together. They do, you know, they roll with each other and stuff.
The
They're more into
disturbance
family.
and that we went through is unlike any other culture on this planet.
But
The
hold on.
disturbance that we went through, you know.
Okay. But hold on a second, Calvin. Brian, what did you notice? What do you think made the connections at college with the Caucasian students different from the African American students?
They were taught it. They see it. They have examples of it. Like if you looked at like you know Colorado and Dion, that's the big story. But I was watching, and you can learn a lot from the younger generation, right? I was looking at
Mm-hmm.
Travis Hunter. He's going to be like the #1 pick football player when it's time to done. But he's with his girl, and the connection they had was just crazy. They've been living with each other for a year and a half. Every person looking at her like you're only dating him because he's about to be a multi-millionaire, this, and that, and he gonna leave you when he gets there. And that, but they're gonna get married. They're not going nowhere because when you look at them, the connection is so strong between them. They do everything together. They're each other's best friends. They don't want to do anything with their friends. They want to do it with each other. They just got a strong connection, and you got to build the connection. And here's what I did differently. I had one of the best dates ever that I did because I used to go on a date and I used to take a girl to a nice fine dining steakhouse and I'll dress up and I'll peacock as a provider and protector and all that BS and build no connection and it'll always go bad or fall at the waistline. Instead of that, impromptu, pick the girl up. Just tell her wear your favorite outfit, wear something comfortable. We're
Right.
gonna just tour the city. We're gonna go to the mall. We're gonna stop at the mall. We're gonna go into the department store. We both going to pick out the most ugliest outfit we could find, put it on, and try it on each other. We're gonna go in the car. We get in the car. We're gonna pay each other. We're gonna take turns playing our favorite songs from childhood. We're gonna go try to sneak into the movies for free, see if we can get away with it. We're gonna go to dinner without no reservation and see if we can talk our way in the reservation. We're gonna see a park. We're gonna stop there. We're gonna climb the monkey bars and just have this adventure. And by the end of it, I'm gonna know you better than if I asked you 100 questions on a regular date. We're gonna have more experiences and a more connection than if I did anything else because we're going at it a different way. It ain't about how much money I made or what my profession was or how I looked or how you looked or what was going on. We're just having fun, enjoying each other, enjoying that connection and making it organically. And if you want to do that,
Hello, Ron?
yeah, I'm here.
Oh, I thought you
Hello.
were still talking. It's like you
Oh
went
no no no
out.
no.
Okay, I can hear you.
Okay, yeah, yeah,
Okay.
yep.
Well, that's
So yeah, this is
wonderful.
my
I
example
really
of how I'm changing things. Yeah, yeah.
okay. I like that. I honestly like that. I think that, like I
Mhm.
said, we have to get away from this. People over on IG and all across social media are searching for this power couple that doesn't exist. They're searching for this power couple, this aesthetically pleasing couple, and they're looking at the shallowest and the most superficial, in my opinion, of things, rather than does this person have character? Do they add value? Do they even
True.
like you? Like,
Mm-hmm.
women fall for men every day, all the time, that send them text messages and have never picked up the phone and bothered to call them. You can't form a relationship with someone. Something you said on our last podcast, which I
Well,
was listening to this week, Ron, something you said about spending time together. Like you said something that if you're getting close to a woman and if there's 4 days in a week, you want to be with her. You want to spend time with her. You want to see her. You want
Mm-hmm.
to be in her presence, right? Uh, So
Yeah,
that's the whole
of
thing.
course. You got
well,
to,
I
yeah, you got
think
to have time.
well, I think
I'm sorry.
nowadays, I mean, I didn't go to school, college with, I didn't go to college with that many particular white folks, but from what I understand is that I think a lot of white young ladies go to college to become a wife.
That is true.
They're
There's a
taught, they're
saying:
trained to become a wife.
bring a degree
Whereas
holder,
a
bring
lot of
a
our,
husband home.
yeah, whereas a lot of our sisters, caught up in this narrative, what can you do? And I think that was on Ron's season. What's his name? What's the guy name that got voted off? Then he came back the next season. The question was, how much of a
KJ
bill he
Smooth.
gonna
We just
pay?
talked about him. KJ Smooth.
Yeah,
KJ
KJ.
Smooth.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I don't go to work just to pay bills. I don't. I mean, I don't want to just go to work to pay bills. I mean, I want us to blend together. And help us shoulder each other's load. I'm not going to put it 80 on you and 20 on me, or 80 on me and 20 on you. But if we could build it together and do together, no sense in both of us working ourselves into bad health just for the sake of trying to keep up with the Joneses or what have you. And that's why I think.
Very good. Very good. So we move forward from that scene. We move over to the scene now. We're going to Aries is out with her mom and her sister friend to meet Phil. The ladies are there. They're talking. They seem to be like Aries, very no nonsense.
Mm-hmm.
Phil comes in prepared with two bouquets, but unfortunately, there's an extra woman that he didn't anticipate. Already in this scene, from the very beginning of it, I have this vibe from Phil that he's very nervous. He's a little defensive. And it seems like for the first time, he's also behaving and moving a little awkwardly. Maybe it's just me.
Mm-hmm.
I'll continue with the notes. Um, and so as they talk and the mother asked him about leadership and how he feels about it and how he views
Mm-hmm.
it. And he talks about basically a more egalitarian form of leadership where he's asking her opinion and they're deciding
Mm-hmm.
things together. And then when she asked him about his Christian values, it really falls apart even more so because we
Mm-hmm.
find out, we've already knew it, that he's not a Christian. He's not religious. He says that if anything, he's more of a Buddhist, but then he kind of poo-poos on that a little bit later, saying that no, he really doesn't have any religious institution or formal uh, religion that he's a part of. And
Mm-hmm.
so things don't look too good for him. Things just don't look too good for him. Kimberly, can you take this scene over and tell me what you saw in this scene?
Yeah. I thought Philip was kind of confident. I think he held held himself well when they were drilling him about his leadership, his religion, and just being the provider, which we see that, he's not big on even I don't know, even though Aries keeps saying, that's what she wants, and she's a little nervous about his situation and stability. But when they were asking him the question, hey, you're a new comedian, he was like, yep, sure am. Like, he wasn't phased at all. And he was strong in his Buddhist ways. So I think he did good. I didn't really see the nervousness, but maybe I need to watch it again. But I'm just glad that the
Mhm.
mother and the sister did a great job with asking the questions. Like, I'm really proud of all the ladies' family. I think they picked the right ones.
Yes.
And it was just overall, it was good because it really did help Aries, decide what she wanted to do.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, well, I think, the whole religious aspect question, it took me back to Carmen and Donovan again. You know,
Oh yeah,
when
that's right.
Carmen's
Was it
mother
her?
was asking Donovan, what do you
Mhm.
believe? Yeah, what do you believe? Do you believe in Jesus? And then he said, well, I actually don't. I'm spiritual, more spiritual than anything. And
Right.
I think Donovan was saying more so that he was a Buddhist as well. So
Mm-hmm.
and then when after Phil said, well, I can pray, he prayed on the food, and then she said, well, he said, in the Lord's name, and then she said, well, in Jesus' name. you know,
Mm-hmm.
the mama said, so,
Yeah, you got to be for
you know,
Jesus if you in this house, but
Mm-hmm.
everybody different. We can be
yeah, yeah,
friends, but
yeah.
that's
She said,
about.
no, we love some Jesus in this house. Yeah, she said, we love some Jesus
Mhm.
in this house. Now, I don't know if they talked about a religious aspect between those two. I don't know. Now, the
Mm-hmm.
whole running conversation telling was instability. Was it economic instability, or as you and I talked about, Aubrey, was it relationship instability, or was it a combination of the two? Because he had
Yeah,
cheated on his wife. He was I don't know whether he's a
it's
reform
something that a lot of
cheater
people
or what,
forgot
or was
that
he always cheat? I don't know.
right,
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
right.
It's interesting because
yeah,
the family sounds just like Aries, so far as the focus on
yeah,
financial stability and him, or was he a comedian? Was he a comedian, maybe? I
Yes.
feel.
yeah.
But the thing about it is that, like you said, Aubrey, the show touches on some real life situation. At a certain stage in your life, you could be
He does.
reinventing yourself and going to another level within you. And you may meet somebody that's established, but you're reestablishing yourself. It's not unusual for people to go through a
Yeah,
career change in life or find out things about them that they didn't know when they were younger. You're yet still evolving. So, and that's a real life situation when it comes to love and marriage, and um, you're growing into the person that you need to become, and everything that occurs during your journey is a part and parcel of that. So you meet someone and you're at a different stage in your life, and if they can like you, but the thing about the loving part comes with them being able to deal with you as a person, not just the things or the image or other things that get in the way, because those things can change. You can have people lose jobs and use jobs and get different careers, or have a change of life that really affects everybody around them. Can you help them prevail over that? In life, you're going to change because you're supposed to. You're supposed to. And the person you was at 20, you're not going to be that person at 40 and 50. So there's always room for improvement for everybody. So you have to deal with things and be able to deal with a person as they grow. Certain things remain constant, but there will be changes. You can't help that.
well,
Yeah,
yeah.
this
Yeah.
this
I mean,
ain't gonna
all of
work.
us.
Go ahead, Ron.
Okay.
Just
Yeah,
like
this ain't. Yeah, this.
in 2008.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, yeah. In 2008, a lot of us took a hit. Some more than
Mm-hmm.
others. Now, I don't know whether. And then some cities took a bigger hit than others. I think Phil is from Detroit. So, I know Detroit is a city on the rebound,
Yes.
what have you. Kwame Kilpatrick forward, So, I don't know if he was caught up in that fray when a lot of the automotive industry went belly up and they had to do a bailout for the automotive industry or what have you. And who knows? I mean, as I told you, I mean, he lives about 20 some miles away from me, Phil does. And the area in which he lives now, I mean, that's a well-to-do area. I mean, you can't have a little money living in that area, The average rent is
Now,
about
is this the
$1,900
area
a
that he
month.
just moved to recent? Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, in
Sean,
Frisco. He lives in Frisco, Texas. Yes.
Okay. Well, what I was
I
going to
can
ask
hear
you, without giving away where he lives, but do you know if this is the area that he just recently moved to? Because I noticed during his interview, he was saying that he was in the process of moving again.
Well, I mean, he told me where he lives. Now, he and I talk on Facebook from time to time, and what have you.
No,
And,
no, but do you understand I'm asking you the question?
Yeah, I do. I don't know. I don't know whether this is the area he just moved to or not. I don't know. But I do know he's been in the DFW for quite some time. So, but I don't know if he just moved to this area. But the average rent is like $1,900 a month. So I mean, and this is a place where a lot of the Dallas Cowboys live. So I mean, it's not a little small town USA, and this place is supposed to be getting a new Universal Studios. So hey,
I know Phil is not broke. It might not be enough, but here's the problem. And I'm reading the comment down there where she said Aries was out of his league.
Oh,
but
go ahead.
The only problem with that is the men don't feel that way. To feel, he feels like he can get Aries anytime he feels like it. That's why he was confident within the situation. Aries not out of his league to him. A 40-something-year-old woman with 2 kids. Okay, how she looks.
But you're looking at it. You're looking at it one way, and that's the thing too. And that's what we're seeing on this show is that everybody is in their own bubble, and nobody's seeing themselves the way like the opposite sex may see them. But I think that China Dow, her more important point may be the first part of this statement that she says his responses to her family members was not well thought out. So, like, here's the thing. Like I was talking to Sean earlier today, a man must make a woman feel safe. Now, if you don't want that woman, then it don't matter. Okay, say la vie.
It's not necessarily you don't want her, but you know what I mean. He's trying to. He feels you don't have to press her. Like why do I got to press my equal? It's like he's feeling it.
Well, you know what? But see, this is the thing. This is why dating we're having so many problems in our community. It's not about impressing people, but you're meeting someone senior. You're meeting her mother, right? In lieu of her father being there, her father is deceased. You try to tell me that if you were to meet a woman that you wanted to marry or have a serious commitment with, you don't want to impress her parent, there's something wrong with that picture.
But you gotta understand, like they just met each other. She's growing on him too. It's a both things. I bet at some point Phil probably kind of thought like, man, okay, I'm bending a little bit different than I usually bend here. I'm kind of doing her a favor. I know because the fact of the matter is, I'm over talking to Alexis in my season and stuff. She's not my normal type, but when she made the move for AJ and did her thing, you know what I mean? It was almost like she was looking back at me, and honestly, how I really felt was, I can get 10 Alexises if I wanted to. I'm not, you know what I mean? Like, you know what I mean? I was trying to do something new to Biz.
50 and single. Everybody I can get 10 of her. I can get 5 of him. And then everybody ends up single.
I get it, but you see him putting in the effort, though. I put in the effort.
Up. We're busy hyping ourselves up. I'm so great. My waist is so small. My hair, my weave is so long. The man, I'm so tall. My thing is this long, whatever. We're all hyping ourselves up and hyping ourselves right out of relationships.
But Phil was really I talked to Phil. Phil was really into this woman. He's putting in the work. He's doing everything he felt was right. And it still felt short. And I don't know if that's a knock against Phil. I think like maybe Aries selling herself too high, or maybe she not necessarily she's okay with herself, which is fine. But he's like, yo, I'm trying to build the connection. I'm trying to do that. I make decent money. It's just not enough. So what is enough? What are you looking for? Do you want a man that makes 150K? Okay, he's not gonna look like Phil. So do you want a man with looks? Where are you finding this guy at? Is what I'm saying. You don't. You're picking yourself out of the dating market because where does this guy exist that's tall, looks like Phil, makes 150K and up in the Dallas area, in that age bracket, that wants a woman with 2 kids, that wants to be serious, that wants to deal with what she's dealing with just lost a parent and everything else like that, and is ready and is parent and ready to love and ready to step up and everything else like that. Where does he exist? I haven't seen him yet. And she's walking around like she got a line of these dudes wrapped around. I mean, in ready to jump on the bus. And that's what Phil was like. Yo, he's like, when did I become chopped liver in the dating market when it comes to I'm not stretching. She's not a reach for me. I've dated women that look like Aries before. All that's what Phil's feeling.
All that I'm saying, if you can have all these women that look like her, look better than her. Hold up. If you can have this woman that looks better than her, you dated 10 of them, then why didn't you pick that one? Why didn't you pick that one? You were dating Miss Universe. You were dating freaking Beyonce. Why didn't you pick her?
He didn't pick her. He didn't pick Aries. He didn't.
I'll say this, Aubrey. I'll say this, Aubrey. I mean, I was in a relationship with a young lady, and she and I were doing very well. And we both had lost. She had just lost her father a couple of years before, and both my parents had been deceased. My father passed in 2001, and my mother passed in 2002. So but nevertheless, I was a grown man on my grown man stuff. I was older than she is, but she was still living at home with her mother now. And I just said, I said that I had the idea in my head. I said, what if I asked her mama if I could, just one day marry her? So I thought about it and I did it. I said, Miss, last name. I said, how would you feel if I asked you one day if I could marry your daughter? Because I just want to do the honorable thing, and since your husband is deceased, and just come and ask you that. How would you? Because her daughter and I were feeling each other. We were cool. Never had a crossword or anything. So she said, well, her daughter name. She said she likes nice things, and it's kind of hard for 2 people to make it nowadays, and she really likes nice things and stuff. And and then she finally hit. She said, well, I think when you become a little bit more stable, I was smiling on the outside, but on the inside, I'm like, what the hell? I mean, what was going on here? I mean, I had a career. I have a career and all that. All my bills are paid, no debt, nothing like that. And so she said, when you become a little bit more stable. So, I don't know whether the narrative was that Aries was listening more to her mom. That solidified her decision or not. I don't know. Because they say blood is thicker than water. So,
But you was really feeling him earlier. You was feeling him feeling good about him. And
she was feeling the foot. She was feeling the foot rubs. She was feeling the foot rubs and all that stuff.
I could use a foot rub. Phil, where you at? No. I mean, yeah, she was feeling the foot rub. But to be fair, Sean, just all jokes aside, to be fair, though, we have seen her for the last 2 or 3 episodes to the point where we've seen Phil say, wait a minute, now this is the 3rd time her bringing up stability. I'm getting sick and tired of this. So it's not just her mother. This woman has been married before. It's not just her mother that is going into this decision making. Whatever we're not seeing, whatever scenes have been cut out, whatever conversation they've had, it's not just her mother. She is concerned about his stability. And like I told you, I think it's not only a matter of the financial part that Ron points out, that he's not broke. I don't think a woman wants to hear just that he's not broke. I don't think that's going to be good enough for these modern women today. That's not going to be enough. That would have been enough for my mom's era. He's not broke. He's working. He's gainfully employed. But that's not enough. I think the other thing that we're forgetting is the fact that on the OWN exclusive, and a lot of people may not have seen this, but go to OWN on YouTube, and you'll find that there's an exclusive date that Phil has with Sierra with the S, and he talks about the fact that he was a cheater with his wife, his ex-wife. So all of these things probably play some portion into it, I think. And thank you. I want to say real quick, Monique, I want to thank you for the $5 super chat. She says that everybody can have anyone they want, but everybody is still has nobody. Preach, Miss Aubrey. Okay. I just think it's
Well,
bizarre.
well,
People keep saying who all they can have, but
Mhm.
and you
Yeah.
look around and then they tell you in the next breath, but I'm so lonely. I have no
Yeah.
one. Okay.
But why are you're still single, like you said? That's a good point. All these people, they've been single for a while, and now you have opportunity to be ready for love.
Bill's a very honest person, very upfront, very humble. He just basically said, "Yo, man, I thought it was enough. It wasn't enough.
Yeah.
Some people it ain't enough, and
Yeah.
it is at that." And he was hurt a little bit and a little heartbroken. But the fact of the matter is, women got to give too. You can't just be asking for all this stuff and you ain't giving nothing. So we ain't seen a bunch of scenes where Aries was just catering the field and doing a bunch of stuff for Phil. So he ain't missing out on anything in his brain. You know what I mean? But the fact of the matter is, hey, I put in the effort. I tried. I bought the little gift on the side. I did everything I was supposed to do in this process that you tell a man to do. It still wasn't enough.
That's right.
So what do you tell to the men? What do you say to them?
Right.
well,
I think
guess
I think we have to also look at it like at the end of the day, Aries has a very lucrative career in software development or something like that, software engineering. She's got two
Right.
children. So if any man that comes into her life, he's not only going to have to be financially stable for himself, but he's also going to have the surplus to be able to cover her and the children financially as well. So that will put a lot of guys in a, that will eliminate a lot of guys. It will basically magnify only the few that fit that criteria, and they're not going to be on Ready to Love. Then there's never been a guy on Ready to Love who fits that particular narrative. And if there have been, they've been few and far between.
I mean,
So
Chris does, but
yeah, but like I said, one or two here or there. But at the end of the day, on this season, she didn't find that. So the guy that she's looking for, is not there. Maybe a millionaire matchmaker or someone like that, she would have more success. But on this particular show, it's okay to shoot for the stars and go after what you ideally want. But if you have someone that's going to treat you with respect, really is into you, wants to, has spoken openly about what, wanting to blend the family at some point, if things work out well, being affectionate in terms of the foot rubs and the phone calls late at night for hours, they really bonded. So, her doubts, they definitely they offset any real like that she had for him, because
she did say that I can do those things with my girlfriends. It was very disrespectful. He was talking about the connection. I like doing this fun stuff with my girl over connection. She's like, I can do that with my girlfriends.
right.
That right
So
there says you're not really big into connections, or that's
you're not
not
even
that important to you right now. Because I do believe that Aries makes bread. I ain't gonna lie. We got a trip that we're planning out there, and she threw down 2,500 like it was nothing.
Right.
right.
So,
But
so she got her money. She got her own money.
right. We
Exactly.
get that. But JR, that's what you were saying. What were you saying about it was something you were saying when Ron jumped in, and I'm sorry, you were saying something about Aries and her doubts.
Yeah, so I was saying that her doubts definitely surpassed any real like that she had for him, because she wasn't even prepared to give it a chance, despite the fact that he's into her. So it's a really big concern for her. And, Phil, despite his best efforts, she chose to be single, So the mom grilling him, she's going to read from the same hymn sheet as Aries. Aries and her probably had discussions about what she's looking for in a mate, and what she has come on the show to find. And that guy isn't Phil. I think he did shoot himself in the foot by kind of being too all over the place with his answers. He wasn't really specific with a lot of things. And I think the mom wanted kind of like a reassurance that he was the guy for her, and she didn't get that. So and Aries is obviously going to listen to her mom. Her mom is one of her confidants. That's why she brought her on the show. So trust and believe, Phil was hurt, but unfortunately, he just has to chalk it up to, he tried and it just wasn't meant to be.
Have y'all ever heard of the sales term? I'm a business guy, but we use it all the time. Under promise, over deliver.
Yes,
Yeah.
So
absolutely.
yeah, like so he didn't have to peacock, you know what I mean, the whole thing, or saying, you know what I mean. He's saying, hey, I'm gonna say what I know I can do. I probably could do a little more. I could probably brag this up a little bit and stuff to make somebody feel more secure. But I'll over deliver, so I'll press you in the long run with it, and I'll get more props and status for doing that because I've exceeded your expectations. And I think that's a little more what he was trying to do, instead of just saying, coming in with all this reassurance and all these promises, and that we know guys do. Promise you the world and sell your dream and all this other stuff like that. And then when you go marry him and you go look at that paperwork, it don't be there. That dude being like a mug and all kind of crazy stuff. And you be like, hey, where the Mercedes? I saw the Mercedes outside. I saw the house. What's all this other stuff? Debt and all this other stuff coming through in his credit score and all this stuff like that. So I'm like Phil. I'm a Detroit guy. We pride on under promise, over deliver. I want my girl proud of me. So I don't lead with my best hand. You to find out my best qualities of what I got, money wise, stuff like that. You want to make it long enough to find it. I'm not gonna come out with that because I want to be underestimated. So therefore, when you see the real stuff and it's looking good and stuff like that, you're happier. And I just thought that Phil kind of played his hand that way, which I think is a smart way to play it.
Go ahead.
Go ahead, Cal.
I mean, just like just like this whole conversation about the finances, I think it goes back once again, same script, different cast. It goes back to Sean and Sabrina. Well, he said, "Well, I can pay a bill or two, So, but
oh Lord, not the bill or two, man.
So I mean, but after Rated Love, Sean's career blew up a little bit. So hey, he's in movies, he's in commercials and all that. So
he's still struggling a little bit financially, man.
Yeah.
Are we talking about Rashid? Are we talking about Phil? Who are we talking about that's struggling financially? Who are we talking about here?
He's talking about the mystery beat that was on the DC season.
You're talking about my boy Sean alone.
Sean, the one that Sabrina's friends grilled. Well, how much can you pay? What have you? He's I could pay a bill or two. But the idea is that
he said the same thing that Ron did. He said he didn't want to oversell himself, and he didn't need. Excuse me, Sean. He didn't need to impress people, and this is where I'm saying this is where the confusion lies. If you're coming to meet my folks, you can say whatever you want to say, but I'm hoping that you've got the good sense to want to impress them, because if you don't, I don't even understand why you came to meet them. You should have just simply told me, you know what, Aubrey, I'm not ready to meet your folks, because don't come to meet my folks and you're not trying to impress them. That's just bizarre.
Yeah. So, I mean, there's a whole lot of things that kind of like can muddy the water in this particular relationship. Either A, we can work through our faith difference. She's of the denomination of Church of God in Christ, and he's Buddhist, spiritual, whatever. You believe in a higher power, believe in a God. What have you? Religiously speaking, they can't, but whether they can make it work, I don't know. But the idea is that finances, I'm not going to tip my hand to let you know exactly how much I'm making, because number one, I don't have any tie to you right now. Number two, we other than just this show, and we haven't even talked about what life looks like after the show per se. Now, if we get married, then I would have to disclose, or before that, when we go through marital counseling and all that.
Before we get married, we all through them numbers. Because I'm a numbers gal.
Yes.
So the idea is that
Kimberly, I'm gonna bring my account with me too. Okay, we don't play about numbers.
I need to see the statements and everything before the end.
Yes.
I mean, just like you've seen those.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
you seen those YouTube videos that the young lady doesn't give the man the time of day, but then she see what he drives. Oh, this your car? Oh, well, I was having a bad day and such and such. So do you want me for me, or do you want me for what I have per se? And so I think in a they were is Phil looking out for himself. Does she want me for me, or does she want me for what she believes I have? Is she looking for me to rescue her? Or even married at first sight, as somebody else said. The idea is that do you want just me? Do you want me per se?
It got to be a
Because
connection
I don't think we
first.
should really be
Don't
having
ask
a
me for no
finance
money.
a
Don't talk to
finance
me about
talk.
money.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, this is a 3 or 4 weeks into the situation, or 8 weeks into the situation, and I don't know how long it takes before they film this or what have you. But we barely know each other per se. We haven't gone out any dates outside of this process. We don't know each other's spending habits or what have you. We don't know anything because, like I said, you can make $150,000, but if you can't manage it, we're still back at square one. Or you can
Thank
make
you.
$50,000 and can budget to a T, then you're a bit greater asset.
We're
but
never gonna see these two together, and it's a shame because I like you said, we all thought it was a good match on paper. They looked good together and things of that
We
nature.
did.
The production wanted to push the broke black man narrative that they do all the time. You know what I mean? Is a thing
Is that
because they
kind
know
of
the
like
women.
the angry black woman trope? But go
Perfect
ahead.
black
Yeah,
woman.
it's kind of the same thing. It's kind of the same thing, but but they
Okay.
know a lot of women are making more money and they're dealing with dudes that's struggling. You know what I mean? That might struggle a little bit more for that, so they're pushing that narrative. And what Phil is saying is, okay, I'm not the poster boy for that narrative because I pay my own bills. I got a good job. I got a degree. I went to college with you, Ron. You know what I mean? Things of that nature. And the fact that Aries didn't really speak up and let that narrative kind of flow, you could never really trust a woman like that. I don't feel for his state because
Wait
you
a
could
minute.
you let that narrative roll. You didn't stick you had it. They didn't put a gun up to your head to roll with that narrative, and you just let it you let it fly.
Wait a minute. Okay, so you're saying that correct me if I'm mistaken, but it sounds like you're saying that Aries was on the side with production and she allowed a narrative to continue that maybe production created. Yes.
Yes.
Okay, so then if we say that, then we can also say that Chris was on the side of production who tried to create a narrative for Jessica, and a lot of people went for it.
I mean, if that's the narrative for Jessica, I mean, his narrative we know is 100% not fact. He's not broke comedian. He has a job. He has a LinkedIn. These are all facts. You can go look everything up. He has a degree. I'm telling you, we went to college together. It's in supply chain. It's a growing market.
Right. I get
So
that.
his is a total narrative because it's a total. It is untrue. Period. Her being combative, we don't know. She could be, she could not. I don't know. I haven't met her in person yet to 100% tell you that. But we know his is not true, and she went with it.
We know that she's not combative based on behavior that we've seen on this show. We know
Who?
that
Jessica?
hold on. We know that Chris started opining about Jessica very early on after he allegedly chose her in the beginning. We know that. We can go back. You can go back on your video on demand and see that Chris is talking about time after time. She's going to be 60 with a bunch of cats at the retreat. He made that statement when she wasn't even talking to him. He's saying that she's combative. He's saying all these different things about her, and yet when he sees her, he's smiling and grinning like a Cheshire cat in her face. So yeah, he helped create a narrative.
It's a
Yeah,
narrative, but like I said, we don't know if that narrative is true or not. But we do know in Phil's situation, we got numbers, we have statistics, we have actual facts that he makes more than the
I keep
average
saying
male.
that, but I'm saying that we don't have facts that girl is. But who's the person that blew up? Who's the person that's cursing her out, shaking so hard and about to cry? We got that on Chris though, right? We
Yeah.
don't have her cursing him out, right? I just want to
No,
see
I
who.
get what you're saying, but how Chris feels about Jessica is Chris's opinion. That's all that is, and his opinion is valid to him.
There you go. Now, thank you. I agree with you
His
totally.
opinion is valid to him. But and Phil got a real short stick because his stuff's not even true. They put a narrative on him. Even when he's talking to the family, talking about the comedian thing, you could tell how that was edited. You could tell he didn't talk about the supply chain and everything else like that. And he threw that on the back end. They cut all that out and just had him talking about the little comedy aspect in it. The and there was a petty. It was a petty move, and they threw it on him. He's handled it very well since they did it. But the fact of the matter is, this supposed to be your ride or die, your ace, the girl that you getting gifts for, rubbing feet and stuff like that. She's supposed to say, "Nah, we can't. I ain't going with that. He does well. He got good money. I'm not gonna put him out there on Front Street like that." And if she went along with the production thing, and then she goes on the back end and go, "Oh, Phil, I want to give it a try now." As a man, you're gonna be like, well, girl, how am I supposed to trust you? You threw me under the bus, basically, kind of with just by going along with that. Like, I can't ride with you now. Like, you know what I mean? It was kind of like with Alexis went with me. I'm like, dude, like you sit up there, knew where my religion was. You went with that. You didn't went with you knew how that whole scene was edited and everything else like that, and you went with it. Didn't say nothing, quiet as could be. But now all of a sudden you want to date now, and you think I'm gonna give it? You know what I mean? Men loyalty is the number one thing for us. We want that over everything. And these are coming out of Phil's own mouth. He said, "Yo, nobody put a gun off their head to go support that narrative. So therefore, I don't know if I can't roll with it like that no more." And that's coming from the horse.
I mean, they did paint him an innocent because if you remember a few episodes before this, the young lady that they had Aries to meet, what's her name? Some Hispanic first name. She said, "Yeah, he can't stay in my house when he was in between this and that, the third." And they kept painting this narrative that Phil was homeless.
The ex when we met his ex.
Yeah,
right?
meet the ex. And I doubt very seriously if that was his ex, quote unquote. I doubt that.
Why do you say that? Why do you say that, Sean?
I just can't see it. I mean, I think it was somebody he may have had relations with, maybe per se. I don't think it was like we were together, per se.
Oh.
I can't see that. I might be wrong, but that I think that was to push the whole narrative, about him reinventing himself, him pulling himself by his own bootstraps and moving here, moving there, and then they paint the narrative that he was in insurance and when there was not a lot of claims and the work kind of dried up, and so he had to reinvent himself again or what have you. So like what Ron was saying, that this man's pretty much stable, very much stable. I don't know. I don't know. I wash my hands of the whole thing. I don't know.
You got a great point. Okay, so with Jessica, she chooses her girlfriend, one of her close girlfriends, to meet up with Marie, who she tells the girlfriend is a whole old man. I was like, what? No, she didn't. She talking about his candy cane stripes, or what's she talking about? I don't know. Like, she called him a whole old man, but I thought that was funny. Marie doesn't disappoint because once again, when he enters the restaurant, he's wearing stripes once again. I just thought, I don't know, you guys, I'm from Michigan, Ron also from Michigan, we're from Detroit, and in the Metro Detroit area, there's a restaurant called Big Boy. You know Big Boy, Ron. The guy that's outside, the big boy, is literally a big boy with a striped outfit, very much like the one Marie had on. And on it, he has a plate. And on the plate is this huge, gigantic hamburger. And that's all I could see when I saw Marie coming in with those stripes. I'm like, what is going on? Marie asked the girlfriend if Jessica has always been this woman that does not cook. And basically the girlfriend pretty much agreed. So Jessica does not cook. She makes coffee, but she does not cook. And so Jessica says that people make time for what they want, and talking about her and Marie, how they're both busy, but people can make time for what they want. And I have to agree with that. But this may not be enough depending on some of the variables that Mario says and does, like moving over to Africa. Is that going to be enough for Jessica? Because Jessica clearly does not want to move to Africa, right? So, Kimberly, what were your thoughts on this scene?
I don't know what to say about this one because I'm not sold that this is anything more than a business agreement, like a business arrangement. I think they could go far financially together in like a partnership there, but marriage, no, because like you said, how she described him, old man, like what's attractive, about thinking about that at her young age, wanting to reproduce with this person, and then you're already just attacking, I guess, his character and maybe his looks as well, because he, to me, doesn't look as young in the face. So I think it was very strategic that she brought in the cousin, like she said, that had already been divorced and had kids since he had kids. The cooking thing is fine. I don't cook. I haven't had a problem with, not dating men who cook. I usually date men who cook. It works well. And
Right.
I think that's what Marie is going to have to do. Like, he's really going to have to work to impress and keep her around if this thing is going to work. Let's just go with the show and say it's going to work. But how did we get over the crystals so fast? So to me it just seems a little fake because she was so concerned about Marie and
Yeah.
his crystals, and then she
The
kind of like the
tarot
feeling of this thing.
cards.
Yeah,
Mhm.
the cards, all of that is just a big deal. But you see, Marie, he was like, "Oh, we can get married tomorrow," so he's all in. But I feel that Jessica is just, winging it just to stay around, stay relevant, because it didn't work with her top connection, and she's just here to play the game.
Oh, okay. All right. All right. That's an opinion. I think you got some very good points in there. You got some very good points in there. Sean, you wanna respond? Oh, go ahead. Who is that? Ron?
Well, I was saying she made a point that Mario is looking at Jessica, and I can see the way he looks at her. He's attracted to her.
He
He's looking
is.
at her like she's the prize, and that's why he's willing to bend on a lot of stuff that a lot of men. That Chris wasn't bending on nothing. Mario's going to bend on pretty much everything. If she wants this, he's going to do that. She don't want to go to Africa, he'll stay. He'll
Yep.
bend because that's a beauty to him. That's a 10 to Mario. I don't find Jessica attractive. That's a 10 to Mario. And he's willing to bend and do stuff that a lot of the guys are not going to do. Jessica needs that. She needs that leeway. She needs that guy that's adjustable. She needs that guy that's going to bend. He's the guy that's going to take her stuff. She needs the guy that's going to be there on the bad day. They'll come on the good day and things of that nature. And I'm telling you, this can work as a relationship because he needs that. He's looking at her like a prize. I tell women all the time, get a guy that thinks you're the prize at the end of the day, because he's willing to stick around. He's willing to deal with everything. He's willing to, you can cuss him out and have a bad day on him. He could take it. He'll come back the next day, still be, what I mean? You need that type of guy if you're that type of woman. And you need, I know women are talking about, I want a man with a backbone, and I don't want a man that's going to stick up for himself. Some women are too strong for that already. They don't need that. They need kind of the opposite. They need a puppy dog that's going to go around and put them on a pedestal and do what they need them to do.
You know what? Here's a saying, and this goes for both genders: know when to pick your battles. So everything a woman says that she wants, or everything that she snaps about this, or she wants that, the guy bends. But a guy that has a backbone, he knows his boundaries, and the woman that's with him and familiar with him, she learns them very quickly too. Does that make sense? Like,
No, I definitely understand that, but I'm talking about in the forms of a relationship and how it works. She's going to need a man that's bendable with things. She's a boss woman. She's not going to change that aspect. It ain't going to change so she get in the household and stuff like that. She's still going to want to call shots, stuff like that. And it's a certain demeanor where she could be like, "Oh, I'm hungry." And Mario goes, "Oh, baby, what you want me to cook?" You know what I mean? Like, a lot of guys ain't rolling, ain't doing that. And he's willing to do it. And she understands she ain't gonna find a lot of guys like that. And especially if she's really right and he stimulates her mentally, they're having good conversation, it's deep. The only thing's missing is the sexual aspect. And if he could solve that problem by getting in there and getting in there good,
oh
this
my,
gonna be a marriage.
oh my. Okay,
They're not there yet. We saw on the bridge. That was the most disrespectful thing and ready. I mean, you couldn't even kiss this dude on the lips, man. We ain't been in this thing a month, dude. That's embarrassing.
We're getting there, Ron. Say that.
Okay, I'm like, man, you would have to fake kiss me. You would have to put your hand on there, cover your face up, and act like you kissed me. My mama watching this. You can't do me like that.
She would have had to do a unique, huh? She would have had to.
Yeah, you would have to do a unique on me and just made it seem like my mama watching you. Why you gonna do me like that? I gotta give you a free kiss. Like, and you grimace, it almost like you grimace when I did that. Like,
you're not there yet, Ron, but I have to agree with you. I'm on your side on this one. Anyone else on Marie and Jessica in this scene, or should we?
I feel like Maury is setting a dangerous precedent by.
Oh, how so?
Because he's basically saying a lot of stuff that, I mean, we just analyzed and broke down what Phil was saying about how he's a comedian, he's got a job doing this, and he's had to change careers recently and all the rest of it.
Yes.
Maury changes what he says. Like, if you look back on the things he was saying earlier on in the season compared to what he's saying now, he's gone through a lot of changes. Like, every episode is something new. I want to move to Mali. I want to move to Ghana. I want to move to Nigeria.
Yeah.
I want to
Facts. Right. He's changed 3 different places, right? You are absolutely right.
So, now you went on a restaurant. Where's this restaurant experience coming from? I didn't see when he was he didn't work in restaurants and he didn't have all the experiences.
He likes to eat now. He does have that.
No, don't get me. How you gonna get mad at Phil for being a comedian and want to be who has experience being a comedian? And this dude just shouting out stuff. Oh yeah, when I own that restaurant. Oh yeah, when I get that air pilot license and we fly in that jet. Like, come on now, man.
Yeah. But we do know, to Maury's credit, we do know that mukbangs are pretty.
Hold on, Sean. JR has the floor.
Yeah, I was gonna say we do know that mukbangs are pretty popular, and so are restaurant reviews. Like, they're very good streams of income on social media. So, but I think he's doing the food truck business. So that's why I think he said he sleeps till noon, because he makes most of his business. Makes most of his money at nighttime. Food truck.
Okay, I didn't see that part. That's interesting.
Yeah. So she sells coffee, he sells chicken. It might work.
Chicken and the coffee. Okay.
Exactly. But I just don't see a genuine connection. They may be good friends. But the other thing is, I mean, we did speak about the physical side of things, and we've touched loosely on the sexual connection or whatever. But Jessica doesn't like PDA, and with someone like Maury, he's quite easily swayed into not particularly wanting PDA either. Like that, he didn't seem offended when when we see later down with the kiss, but also he hasn't really had that type of connection where it's led to that, where he's had that disappointment of trying something and she rejecting him because she's not feeling him like that. That, as far as we can see, it's just been a very cordial and civil conversation, and it's led to them deciding to choose each other based on a conversation piece. There's no vibes that give off that there's anything more than that. And also it could be the business stuff as well. They both must have a business acumen to be self-employed and be doing what they're doing. But other than that, I don't see a connection there.
Did we ever get his real age? We know how old this guy is.
I thought they said he's 38, but for sure, to me, he looks like he's in his 40s.
Well, it said 35 on it said 35 on the show.
Oh no!
And then somebody said that my ex said he was 45. But if he's 35, he's a lot younger than her. It's a lot.
He's not 35 though. Come on, you see?
No. It said that on the thing. We'll go relook at the cast where it starts off. It said Maury 35.
But it also said it also said the season that Phil was in DC that Phil was what, like 50?
Yeah, they did that. Yeah, they did that too. But I don't know. That's how I said it. I wonder what his real age is.
Common sense. We got to use some common sense here.
Yeah, they did say 36 though, because I noted that for sure.
Well, he don't look 30 nothing no more.
Exactly.
But looks can be deceiving. Maybe
That's true.
Maybe he's I don't know. When it comes to the sexual aspect, maybe he's a virile.
His girlfriend did say that. Jr. His ex girlfriend did point out that
Exactly.
he likes it hot and heavy all the time,
Exactly.
Yeah,
all
Exactly.
he
the
wants
time.
sexual.
But Jessica doesn't. Jessica seems to be very guarded in that respect. She's not giving up any type of physical anything. So it's I think if they do get into a relationship, they'll definitely have a conversation, uh, you know, a strong conversation piece. But they just don't align, in my opinion. They're just too many things that she said are red flags. And then, if we're talking about women earning more than their guy, I'm pretty sure she does earn a lot. And whether he can keep up with that, I'm not sure. I very much doubt it. Very much so.
Sean, I'm sorry I cut you off, but you wanted to say something, and I was just trying to make sure that Jr. was able to speak too. But go ahead, you were going to say.
Well, no, no. I mean, that's good. I mean, I guess going back to the questions you asked, I see this more as an alliance than anything else than a relationship. As far as a romantic relationship, number one, I don't think she's going to give up Jessica when I'm talking. She is going to give up the coffee business that she has in the DFW area and beyond for a pipe dream to move to Africa. I don't think she's going to do that. I don't think she's that interested in expanding her brand that way. I mean, it'll shock me if she does. Um, I see both of them as looking at making this a relationship, trying to make it to the end, per se. Um, whether he's using her for a come up or she's just using him to get to the end of the show. So, that could be it. One hand wash the other. I don't know. I was just reading some information on him. Does not say anything about him owning a restaurant or nothing like that, per se. So I don't
Not
know what
even
his
a
whole
food
idea. I
truck.
think not even a food truck. I think he's all over the place. What he has been doing. Now I don't know whether this is correct or not. I don't know. I know he because it says he's a solo. I mean, a serial solopreneur, whatever that is.
It says
So
he's a
I don't
what? I'm
know.
sorry. It says he's a
Oh,
what?
okay. Here it is. Okay, yeah. It says he owns a. Okay, okay. I
Read
see.
it.
I see. It
Can
does
you?
say he. It says that he's a owner of a particular restaurant in the Dallas Fort Worth area, Dallas area. So I don't think
Oh,
it's
okay.
can I? Am I allowed to say the name of the restaurant?
Uh,
Yeah.
I think so. I believe so. As long as there's no curse
It's,
words in
well,
it.
according to this, it said he's the owner of Drunk and Wangs, WANGZ. Drunk and
Duncan Wine.
Wangs, WA Drunk and
Oh,
Wangs,
okay.
Dallas, Texas.
Okay. Well, so JR,
So
you
I don't know
you
how well it's
absolutely
going.
had that right. You absolutely had that right about the food business.
Hmm.
Okay. All
So
right.
I
All
mean, I
right.
don't I don't know how lucrative it is or not. You know, I don't know, but those two are. I don't know how solid Jessica is in her religious beliefs per se, because I know when
Well,
she and
Tommy,
Janelle met
we're
the
gonna
ex.
come. We're gonna come to that. Let me move forward from where we're at, Sean.
Okay, go ahead.
Um okay, so we're
Go
uh,
ahead.
we're getting to the bridge scenes now. Thank you. Phil is awaiting Aries with a beautiful red bouquet and also a red box. Aries looks absolutely amazing. Fast forward over to Quentin. Quentin waits for Janelle in his blue suit and he says, "Come here, girl." And
Look
which kind
tasty.
of yeah, it kind of did a little something to me when he said that, but I'm gonna leave that part alone. Phil says that he's you got what I was saying there. Okay, so Phil says that he's concerned that Aries is concerned about him being stable, so he's there waiting for her. He does open the gift. The gift that Phil has for Aries happens to be a baseball with a red heart stitched onto it, and that is because Aries' late father was a professional baseball player and coach. So it's true the rumors that I was hearing earlier in the season about what Aries' dad did professionally, that he was this professional baseball player. So that kind of gives a little more texture to her story, to know that she had a dad that played professional ball could mean that they were, quite affluent at the time, and that she's very comfortable and she's used to very nice things. That's what I'm thinking in my mind. Doesn't make it true, but that's what I'm thinking. Meanwhile, um, let's see. Okay, Marie and Jessica meet on the bridge. Jessica is slaying it with her beautiful dress. Jessica tells Marie that he looks very handsome. Marie begins to give his speech to Jess. He tells her that he chooses her in this moment. Kimberly, I'm going to let you go because you're a lady. What did you think of Marie's speech to Jessica and how all of that was handled?
You know, it was just not good because I made note. He said, I do choose you in this moment. And
Yes.
that's what sealed the business arrangement for me. I'm like, I see what you all are doing. Do you,
Mm,
boo? Make the millions, whatever. And then have the excuse later on down the line that he wanted to move to Ghana or wherever, and you didn't want to. So y'all are going to break up, but make the money while you can. Use the show to promote whatever. I don't see anything lasting. The forehead kiss, funny. And it was just nothing. We
you
didn't get
didn't like that
anything there.
forehead kiss? Somebody was that our own Monique that said that a forehead kiss is very sensual.
It is when somebody doesn't want to let you kiss them on the lip. It sure is very sensual.
Well, wait a minute. Now you told us. I happen to remember some things that you said from our Married at First Sight panel. You're
Yes,
not big on the kissing, so this bothered you.
for Jessica, because if it was Chris, she would have tongued him down.
Mhm.
Okay, all right now.
I
Is
just,
this
I
before? Is this
believe
before
it.
or after? Is this before or after he cursed her out?
After, probably if he would have still gave her another chance, if he had any little interest in her.
Ooh, now you know you
Because
need to quit promoting that. Quit
listen,
promoting that,
listen,
girl.
listen, look at how quick she hooked onto him and was like from the second episode, she wouldn't let the man go. That was too soon, too quick. So it shows you that she was really all in. And she even said on another panel that she liked the aggressiveness with Chris, like it made her feel a certain type of way.
Okay, she like that. Yeah, I can see that. But when that aggression turns other ways, yeah, okay, okay. But back to her and Marie, you just did not like the fact that they did not actually their lips did not meet, because that's what I waited all season for. I'm like, okay, I know they're gonna get a good tonguing down on the bridge. I just know. Because now that there's nobody else, it's not about Chris, it's not about nobody else. And I can appreciate the woman that waits for her man before she starts all that, kissing. I can appreciate that. But I was, yeah, okay.
Yeah, it wasn't a real connection.
Mm. Sean, did you get everything out, Kimberly?
Yes, yes.
Sean,
Yeah, I
what
did.
did you?
Just to backtrack a bit, Jr., are you there?
Yeah, man, I'm here.
Yeah, you're right. It's a food truck. It's a food truck. I did a deep dive. It's a food truck. Um,
Hmm.
yeah,
Yep.
it's a food
He
truck
came. He came
business.
just. He came straight from work. That's why he's wearing them stripes.
Okay, now we understand.
so,
He trying to
so everybody,
relogo and rebrand KFC. Okay.
Hmm.
that's right. That's what it is. So everybody, it's a food truck. It's when you talk about a restaurant, it's a food truck. A mobile business. Um, but anyway, yeah, you can tell how a woman feels you based upon what she will let you do with her.
Oh
Um,
my.
it's like to give you a reference, since y'all both do Married at First Sight. Remember when Shaquille tried to lean in and kiss Kirsten and she turned her cheek to him? It kind of
Yeah.
reminded me of that, with
Okay.
Maury and Jessica.
Exactly.
Yeah, she did. She did. She didn't want no parts of that kiss. You're right.
Yeah, like,
But they
well, I'm not really feeling this. I'm not really feeling this, but I'm just doing it for the
They must
camera's
have had
sake.
an agreement though, because at no point did he ever lean in to actually kiss her on the lips. He was very clear about that. Like he knew not to go in for her lips.
Yep.
I mean, but the dang hold on. Okay, depends on what time this was filmed though. Uh, brother bringing some Easter lily flowers. I mean, my goodness. Okay, come on now.
What are you saying over there, Sean? I'm lost. What are you talking about?
He said Easter lily.
those Easter lily flowers, you know.
Are you talking about the? Are you talking about? Are we talking? Are we still talking about Jessica and Maria?
Bridge
Are we
scene?
talking about?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, the flowers that he gave her. Okay.
Yeah, the Easter lily flowers. You know, you see them at Easter time. You know, other than the
Okay.
poinsettias,
Okay.
but
I think
the
they
Easter
said it was
lilies. Yeah.
right. I think they said it was springtime by the time they filmed this, right?
Yeah, it could have very well
I
been.
don't
Yeah,
care
I'm
what
sure it
time it
was. You
is.
know.
What'd you
I
say,
mean, you know,
Kimberly?
I
I
don't care
mean,
what time it is. Those are friendship flowers.
that's what it
Oh, is
was.
that what
Yeah,
it
that's what it
was?
was. Friendship
I
flowers.
didn't catch that. Okay,
Yeah.
guys, y'all teaching me something new. I didn't catch that those are friendship flowers. So a man must only give a woman roses. Is that what we're
Uh,
saying now?
you know, I mean,
No.
roses. You can't go wrong
Mm-mm.
with roses, and they say depending on the color of roses that you get, depends on where you stand. You know, whether you get yellow roses, white roses, or red roses. You know,
That's true. That is true.
so you know, like Stevie Wonder said, "Send one you love with a dozen roses." You know, make sure that she knows it straight from your heart. So hey,
Make sure they're red too.
I think that I don't see it going if they are together beyond the reunion. I don't see it going too much further than that. I'll put it that way.
Okay.
Well, I,
Okay. Well, JR, what were your thoughts? Thank you.
I
Thank you for
I
sharing.
think the lack of connection is more visible on this scene because, like you said, at the, I wouldn't necessarily say the flowers specifically spoke to friend vibes, but if a guy's bringing you flowers, it's basically to show you that he is into you, right? Uh,
Right.
and it's a respectful, very old school gift. You know, it's something that usually ladies appreciate, and it goes some way to showing them that you're interested in them. And the fact that there was a forehead kiss that followed up after the speeches, yeah, that just showed me, you know, this connection is definitely not physical. The attraction there is probably a lot lower in the list of priorities in that relationship that's going to be formed. So will it work? I don't know, but I just find that there just isn't that isn't just that wow factor. I don't think she's impressed by him particularly. I don't think she finds him attractive as he may find her. And I think he's also trying to be respectful of the fact that she's not into PDA and she's a bit more closed off. So he's
Yeah.
trying to acquiesce to that a little bit. And I also think he didn't go in for the kiss because he didn't want the rejection on TV. Nobody does. So he knew his level. His level was go for the forehead kiss. That's a safe one. Um, you know, it could have been worse. They could have air kissed like what they do in the office meetings and stuff. And that would have been definitely friend vibes, ultimate embarrassment. So yeah, I just don't know where this connection goes. I don't know how they're together in the first place, but good luck to them. And if it does work, then you know they made it work.
Right.
Now, Aubrey,
Mhm. Go
Aubrey,
ahead.
I think now whether it was intentionally said or not. Okay, let's go back to what he said with Katarina. He said, "I can climb trees," right?
Yes.
And then what he said.
Marie said
But
that.
did you
Yes,
hear
he
what he
did.
told? Did you hear what he told? Did you hear what he told Jessica? He said, "I can see myself in you, me in you." Now, I don't
Oh
know what
my.
he meant by that. I can see me in you.
Mm.
I don't know.
Oh my.
I don't know what that meant. I
So
don't know
so
what
you
that meant. I
trying to
don't know
say
what that meant.
you trying to point to the double entendre of what he was what all he was saying? Is that it?
It could be a
Oh,
double.
all
It could be
right.
a double entendre. Yeah, the double meaning of that. I could see me whether
Well, I'm
because
sure both of those
he
women are very beautiful. I'm sure he probably could see himself inside of either one
I
of
mean, because
them, assuming he's
that's the same
straight.
thing Clifton told. That's the same thing Clifton told Joy. He said, "I can see me in you." So
Oh
I don't know what
yes, now you bringing it home to roost. Yes, 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 absolutely. Clifton
I
did
don't
say
know
that, but
what it,
we knew exactly what Clifton meant when he said it. We definitely got
Mhm.
it
yeah.
when he said
Yeah,
it.
well,
So whether
I
that was an airplane whether that was an airplane that flew over her head or not, I don't know. I mean, because he was he was nothing short of the S word talk,
Oh
because
my.
the first time he was talking, he had ED and gout, and then the second time he talking about, we can leave right now, we can go right now, we can leave right now, talk to Sierra, and
That's right. He
then to get the
supposedly
camera
has
and
a
talking about
very
I
high.
can treatment.
He has a very high libido. To your point, Sean, that's a very good point. I kind of
Yeah,
had lost track of that, lost sight of the fact that
yeah,
that according to his ex, he has a very high libido, and that
very high,
the
yeah,
hot and heavy time is very important. Jr., you were going to say something. I'm sorry.
yeah, I was gonna say further evidence of incompatibility because if he has a higher libido and she's not gonna match that from what we see, yeah, that's not gonna work. And I think the closest thing to him being inside her is him actually visualizing it in his mind. I don't think it's gonna really happen.
Oh my gosh. Oh my goodness. So you saying that that's maybe
I
as
mean,
close, and
okay,
that
here we go.
40.
Okay, well, here we come with this. We come with the same problem, just different person. Now she's talking about she wants children. She's 38. Now Maureen said he don't want any more children per se, quote unquote. But she said she wants children. She's 38 now. Her
I thought Maria was the one that could take it or
compadre.
leave it.
Oh, well, yeah, he
No,
might.
he
Well, she
said
was talking
he
about how she wanted to have all that. Go
Hmm.
ahead, Kimberly.
right. Marie did say he did not want more, but he would. So in my mind, that's a no. You just willing to say whatever, kind of like he did the whole season, say whatever to
Mhm,
please whoever he was in the presence
Hmm.
of.
mhm,
Yeah, yeah.
mm.
Mm.
I mean,
And and
What you
I don't,
crunching
I'll
on
I
say
over there, Kimberly? Somebody crunching on something. Let me have some. Go ahead. Go ahead, Jill.
I'll say that Morier. I did see the live where Morier came on and challenged Chris, calling him a lion ass boy and things like that. Now Morier, he's told a lot of porcupines on this season, you know.
Yes.
Mm.
So I think he is in danger of um like Ron said earlier, kind of over promising and under delivering because he's just going with whatever he thinks Jessica's gonna sound. It's gonna sound good to Jessica, and
Mhm.
I think she's the type of person that will hold him accountable for a lot of the things that he's telling her. So I'm not sure how far
Mhm.
that's gonna go. To be honest, I really don't.
Well, that's always something that we're gonna see a little bit later on. And then, guys, we got to move over to, of course, the grand finale scene. Of course, was Quentin in his tight blue suit, waiting with
Woo!
his arms
I was feeling sorry
outstretched.
for that suit.
Waiting with his arms
I was feeling,
outstretched for his beloved Janelle as he gives his speech, and she accepts, and she absolutely unequivocally is highly esteemed to be in his favor. And it's not important right now about the age gap, it's not important about the kids right now. We're going to put all of that aside because what we see right now is we want each other, and here we are at the bridge, so let's do this darn thing. Kimberly, did you have any thoughts about that scene?
I kind of liked what Quentin said, that he was more concerned about finding his person versus just how many children he can have. That was nice. That was a nice little touch. I don't know if it was coached or rehearsed or Googled, but it was nice in the moment. So, maybe they can last. I don't know if they can get past this age difference and the number of children and just, communicate, keep people out your business because they're going to keep bringing up the age and the kids thing. The only thing that scared me at the end, Quentin asked when they were walking off, how do you feel? And she said, terrified. Now, to me, that's a flag because a year
Mm,
down the road, when you break up, you're going to look back at that moment and say, I knew then. You know how we can all look back and say, yeah, I should have known at this point
right.
that this wasn't going to work. So why would you feel terrified? That wouldn't be a good answer in
Yeah,
that moment because it was beautiful.
right. That's what I couldn't quite figure out too. I said, now is she self sabotaging in this moment, or does she also begin to see what those of us viewers like Ron probably in Ron's absence, I'm going to say that is she kind of putting it together that really what she said that she's going to put at the back of her mind actually should be at the forefront of her mind, because while he's saying that you do want your person, the idea that you would put aside having children, not having your biological children, children, hot and heavy time, and money are the three factors that split most couples up, right?
Mhm.
So do
Yes.
you want kids? Do you not want kids? That's a thing. Do you have enough money? Are you guys comfortable? Do you are you good at money? Do either you one of you have vices or places where you're throwing away money? That's an issue.
Mhm.
And the hot and heavy time, that's the libido. Those are the three areas where most couples will say goodbye over those three things. So having children is very significant, and for her to minimize it at her age, it's kind of almost delusional to me, because here you are, a woman in your 40s, and you're being delusional enough to think that a man in their 30s who doesn't have any children, who has been careful about not reproducing because he wanted to create children inside of the bonds of marriage, that now you're going to tell him, no, I'm not going to have these babies for you, but what we can do is adopt.
But she
um,
did agree to one. She said she would birth
yeah,
one.
she
Okay.
did. Yeah, you're right, she did say that. And I know I've seen some of my fellow YouTubers are having the conversation about the adoption. I gonna feel a certain kind of way about adoption, because as an adoptee myself, I see both sides of it. I see, to
Mhm.
understand the relevance of having your biological children, but like I said, I also see that as a woman at 40 plus, you're not even married yet. You haven't even known each other for a year. I see the
Yeah.
issue with her trying to have multiple kids at, let's say, 42, 43, 44. I see that
Mhm.
issue, for her own safety as well as the children. What are you guys thinking?
Well, I think with her, um, if they last, that's a big if. If they last, I think he's gonna have to get another job because I don't think she's gonna want him to be
Oh,
training
that's
women
another
at
point.
the gym.
Oh, that's a
I think
very
she's
good
very
point.
insecure. The very narrative that she, I mean, we did not see anything with him working the whole season, in his gym, what have you. I follow him on Instagram, but I mean, it's always just showing him working out. Of course, I don't know does to protect the privacy of his clients. I'm not sure, but I'm sure that if he got a woman, I mean, I saw the way he was looking. She was looking when Lee was leading that step aerobics,
Ooh,
at the getaway day two. If looks could kill, as
right.
Confucius
That's what
say,
I was
a picture's
thinking.
worth 1,000 words. Now, I don't know if that's gonna fly too much. What's that? Say, look, there's an old song by if you remember the song by Marlena Shaw, "Go Away, Little Boy." If by chance you cannot
Right.
be the man that I thought you were at the beginning of this relationship. So I don't know. I don't know whether it's going to play in that narrative or she's going to use her age as a leverage against him to make him feel like he's a little boy. Um,
Hmm.
I don't know. I don't know. I mean, 7 years is not a whole lot of time, but when you're talking about a woman being 7 years older than a man, that's kind of like a big dynamic sometimes, that, she's already assertive bossy and she already pops off and fly off the handle. Will this bleed over to them?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I mean, you saw how the where it was, with the scene in the lounge with her and Tequila, and so will this bleed over to her and Quentin? Will there be a misunderstanding? If he is too close to one of his trainees per se, quote unquote. I don't know.
That's a
I don't
very
know. I
good
really don't know
point. I
about those.
hadn't even thought of. I hadn't even thought about the whole issue with her insecurity and with him being a trainer. Jr., can you speak to that a little bit more as someone who has trained people for many, many years?
Yeah. I have said the same thing actually. I think with the things that she's displayed when he's been around other women, like i.e. when Kat was speaking to him at the barbecue, she was quick to jump out and kind of ruin that moment.
Yes.
Kind of say, "This is my man. He's off limits. You don't need to talk to him." Right. When Lee and him were fishing again, she comes out. "Oh, you got a fish, boo!" Like always trying to get
Yep.
him away from connecting with other ladies. Now, yeah, I think his occupation will be a problem at some point. And he has to be aware of that, because at first it was restricted to just the ladies lounge where she was kind of wilding out, but he's seen it. So yeah, if I was him, I'd definitely be concerned about that. But I expect that he's actually quite professional. The
Yes.
I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt in that respect, because we haven't heard any dirt or seen any behaviors that indicate that he's any other way. But I also take into account what you were saying about him deliberately waiting. He hasn't got any kids already, so he's obviously waiting to get married or waiting for a more serious committed relationship before he does have children.
Yeah.
And that power dynamic, he may be on the receiving end of a lot of stuff that comes with that package. um, and with the type of volatility that she's shown, it's not something that she can turn on and off. Otherwise we wouldn't have seen that behavior on camera, unless she wanted us to see it.
Right.
So I think there will be trouble ahead. There'll be rocky roads, and who knows how long it's going to last, but I definitely think they will have some serious challenges, not just on the compatibility issue, but in terms of maybe communication, in terms of maybe his occupation, in terms of also, the fact that she does have a boss mindset and probably wants to exhibit a certain amount of control over him because he is younger. Those are all going to play factors into how their relationship goes.
Mm-hmm. Well,
What?
her swooping in on him kind of reminded me of, once again, the DC season, Camilla and Cornelius.
Right, Camille. Yeah.
That I mean, Cornelius couldn't talk to anybody else. Couldn't talk to anybody else. And then she said, if anybody mess with my man, I'm gonna F you up. But she said it was the editing. So the
Yeah.
same way as JR was saying, the way she broke at Katarina when Katarina said, "Are you taking Quentin?" She said, "Well, he is," and Quentin never really fully answered that question. He like, okay,
No, he said
and he started
absolutely.
sipping whatever he was drinking. Well,
Uh,
he didn't say it as
Sean.
confident. He didn't say it as confident as she did.
Well,
She didn't say
okay.
he didn't say it as confident as she did. I mean, he said, yeah, but I mean, it wasn't like a strong, like, yeah, Janelle and I are together, and so forth and so on. Now, the way the narrative was pushed, that according to Kat, she said that it was just pushed for them to have conversation with one another. I don't know who's lying, who's right or wrong. I don't know, but the idea, I do know that he could not afford to really get to know anyone else outside of that dynamic, because Janelle was always lurking in the back of his mind, what have you. Hence, when Lee said she gave him the cheat code on one
Oh, when
podcast.
she went to
Said she
talk
gave him
to,
the cheat
to
code and
Uncle
he couldn't
Uncle
get up.
Nephew Tommy.
He said, well, yeah, when she told the Tommy, yeah. So he gave him the cheat code, and I mean, it begs to say whether they should go back to the format like Ron sees and put them all in one room and the resort and let them stay there. I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but let's be fair. Like, there's no way, even with the cheat code, he should have gone to Lee's room. If the opportunity was there, he should never have done that, because that would have caused chaos. The moment Janelle found out that he did that, it would be hell in that retreat. So, yeah, listen, he played it smart there, in my opinion. The fact of the matter is,
He did.
he said that he was off limits to the other ladies, and that's because Janelle has claimed him, and there's a fear factor now where if she goes off, it's going to be bad for him, right? And I don't think he wants that embarrassment and what's going to come with that. So yeah, he played it smart with Lee in that respect. He didn't go to her room. I commend him for that. But at the end of the day, I think he was very much disappointed in Lee for self-eliminating. But what was he expecting? Fireworks at the bridge? Where Janelle's definitely going to be thinking, what the hell is Lee doing here when I claimed you and you've been running with me all this time?
Well, wait a
So
minute. Hold on. That's an interesting thing that what you just said. So, do you feel that if had Lee not self-eliminated, do you think there was a possibility that Quentin would have picked her over Janelle at the bridge?
no, I don't, and that's why I think
Oh,
he was right not to go to the room, because it was solidified. He'd already made his mind up that he's with Janelle.
right.
So by going to the room and accepting the cheat code, what is he expecting to achieve in that bedroom with Lee? It would have led to more chaos. That's the only outcome. He already made his mind up. He said to Kat and the other ladies he's off limits. Janelle has been claiming him in front of the other ladies. And even though they felt a way about it, they realized there was nothing he could do, nothing they could do to kind of get that time alone with him. In reality, them ladies should have voted Quentin off. Obviously, we know that's never going to happen, but he only had one connection that was solid, and the other ladies weren't going to get a look in. And usually when that happens, that person goes home.
Well, but according to Ron, and I think he has a point. If we're gonna say that because a person only has one good solid connection, then how do we end up with any couples at the end? We basically just end up with a dating show where every time somebody couples and decide that this person is their person, then now they're eliminating themselves off the show. So that doesn't make for good TV at all.
Well, I think one of the ways to find out if your relationship is going to be successful if you actually take the time to come off the cameras and see how it works in real life.
Well, absolutely. Yeah.
Cornelius and Camille did that, right?
Yes.
So there has been precedent set for it.
Yeah,
if you're not interested in anybody else on the show, you're not giving anybody else a look in to get to know you and things like that, then you usually go home. But like I said before, they chose each other. They know what they're getting into. So I wish them all the best. I just don't know how far it's going to work, because there's so many things like that could potentially go wrong.
Well, it wasn't strung. Excuse me. It wasn't strung out as far as with Quentin and Lee as it was with Clifton and Dakia. Because
Well, right. You're right. That's a very good example. Well, yeah, because
I think
Lee
Dakia was
refused.
left confused as she refused to play second fiddle, per se. Kudos to Dakia, she's gotten married, so kudos to her and found her person, outside of that. So I mean, and when you talk matters of the heart, I'm not going. I don't know which sex takes it worse, rejection or not. But I think if I was to guess, I would say women take it harder. Particularly on the show, like when you're seeing all these people looking at, you don't know how many people looking at the show and watching you get slammed week in and week out. And like daggone, you can't see what we say. What's going on? What's going on with this? Um,
That's a very good
there's just so
point.
many dynamics.
That's a very good point, Sean. As they're as the individuals or castmates are in the show, they're not seeing the confessionals that we're seeing. I think oftentimes we forget that. We're like, girl, what you still doing with him?
Yeah, they don't
Hey
see
man,
them to
what you
the.
still doing with her? But they don't see the castmates don't see what
Yeah,
we see. We gotta realize that, and they're not seeing it in real time. So when they see it like just now for us, this is when
yeah,
they're just actually seeing all the bits and pieces. Yeah, they may hear something after the fact, in the ladies' lounge, in the gentleman's lounge, in the group chat, but they are not seeing this in real time. So they really don't know. And then I feel like maybe
yeah.
it's this season specifically, but these people, a lot of the castmates this season are people that I feel really don't see themselves very clearly. They don't see themselves
Hmm.
and they don't have the self-awareness that they've had on previous seasons, to you guys, what I'm trying to say.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
Like
Well,
Janelle
the
doesn't
question I've
see
asked is
herself.
that who's going to
I'm sorry, go ahead.
no, I didn't mean to cut across you. I apologize. The question I've always asked, I say, who's going to get the next come up after this season? You know, who's going to be, I mean, it seems like every season somebody has had a come up, because of the show. Whether going to another show or whether having a broadcast podcast or whether having being Instagram famous or whatever. I mean, who's going to get the next come up after this show? I don't know.
Well, that's a good point. We know that well, listen, we got to cover this real quick. So, guys, what did you guys think about the scenes that we were shown, the little peeks that we saw of the reunion? Like, does anybody know why Janelle and
Too.
Tequila are still going at it? What's going on about them feathers?
Mm-hmm.
Kimberly, what do
Unfinished,
you? Go ahead,
unfinished beef.
Jay.
That's what that looks like.
That looks like what?
Unfinished. Yeah,
Unfinished beef.
I think it stems back. Yeah, because
Yeah.
from what I see, I think Tequila was mad that Janelle had something to do with her being voted off. That's what I think.
Oh, okay. That's very possible.
That's
That's
what I
very
think.
possible. Okay. JR, what were you going to say? I'm sorry.
Yeah, I was gonna say it looks like unfinished beef. It looks like the heat that they had early on. Now that they've come back together in the group setting, it looks like there's scores to settle in the reunion, and both are quite have shown to be quite fiery when they go. So yeah,
Yeah,
like it's definitely going to be a confrontation that is probably going to take up a lot of time, possibly a couple of segments, because that beef is simmering.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if they're both similar or if they just have a genuine dislike for each other and
Hmm.
you know they really despise each other. But am I surprised to see that? No, not at all. Not at all.
yeah.
What do you
I mean,
think?
definitely.
I gotta ask you guys a question. What do you think about how do you think Quentin is going to feel if he's got to always hold Janelle back from getting into an altercation in public? She's always wanting to pull up on somebody, or well, let's say I won't say she's always. Let me backtrack from that. We know that during this season, as it's been playing out, that she literally did go IG live and talk about pulling up on one of her castmates, right? So
Hmm.
this is a real thing with her in real life. Um, can you two gentlemen tell me how you would feel if that was your lady, your woman, your wife, and you've got to constantly bail her out or stop her from going ballistic?
Whew, it's draining. It will be very draining. It will be embarrassing at times because it's going to be out in public some of these times, or it's going to involve another person. So yeah, like Quentin, I'm not sure if he's going to have the patience and tolerance to have to keep doing that, because I think that's why he sat down with her and said, like, handling conflicts is going to be very important going forward, right? And
Yes.
it's not necessarily what you go through, it's how you handle it when these things are happening. And to be fair, her response wasn't one of, okay, you know what, I'm gonna do better. She actually said, well, if they didn't do this, but if this happens, then of course I'm gonna go off. It was kind of like justifying the temperament. So I
Mm-hmm.
think Quentin's going to have his hands full with that. I don't think he should really try to contain her. If that's who she is and it's not compatible with his um, his relationship with the person he wants to be with, he's got to get out of there, because she could get him into trouble. If he
Oh
defends
yeah.
her, has to stick up for her all the time, he's involving himself in these beefs that she's constantly getting into. So yeah, I'm
Yeah.
not sure how he handles that.
Yeah, JR, can you imagine like she's beefing with some lady and then in walks the lady's husband, comes
Mhm.
over, and then now it's like, because when the man comes over, of course, then now
He's got to
he
stand up and defend her, right?
he's got to stand up and defend her to this man, and that could get very, very tricky very quickly in these United States of America.
Of
Yes.
course, of course, we see it.
Right, right, right. Anything else we do see on the sofa rule briefly, we saw a snippet of Jessica and Mariette talking about how things are going with them. Any tales from the body language or what we heard as to what might be possibly going on with them? Any predictions of just saying right now for the reunion? We're not trying to go through their whole life story. We're just talking about for the reunion.
I think it's exactly where they left off. I think they just
Yes.
been talking on the phone, maybe hanging out together a little bit, but I don't
Hmm.
think they really advanced their relationship from the body language I saw and by her answer that she gave when, it
Oh,
wasn't like, oh, we're together now, we're booed up, we're this, that. No, it's more like, yeah, we're getting there. We're kind of still talking and working things out. And so, yeah, I don't think it's too far.
Right.
And I think that's the
Yes,
way.
I
I think
agree
that's the
on
way it's gonna stay.
say it again. Say that
that.
again, Sean. What is your response?
Just like Jr. said, I think that's where it's gonna stay. Just talking. Perhaps not to get to know each other. Just make it idle chit chat. How was your day? My day was fine. Yeah, your day was fine. Yeah, good. All right, I gotta
Oh,
go
so they
now. That's it.
Exactly. Then the forehead kiss goodnight to say bye.
Yeah, that's it.
Hmm.
Ooh, Lord have mercy.
But
Not
I'm
just the
busy. I
forehead.
got I got meet I got meetings. I got meetings tomorrow. I got things to do. I got to go sit and do this, that, and third, and what have you. Um, you know, if Marie is as Pan Africanist as he says he is,
Right.
and talking about moving to Africa, I think he's going to adopt the persona that Jessica is not going to be one to be controlled. You're not going to control her.
Yeah.
And I
Also,
think that's the operative word there. With
also, I must say I'm not too sure about the coffee business in Africa. They may have a
Oh
special
yeah.
brand of coffee that she might be able to
yeah,
tap into, where she might be able to go over there and make some money or do some deals or something, and that might be intriguing for her as well, like growth in her business. Plus, she's got a companion to travel over there with because he wants to be over there. But how they split that time between Ghana or Mali or Sierra Leone and and the States with a child as well that he has. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm not sure. I'm definitely not sure on that.
Mm. Okay, real quick, and I'm gonna let everybody. We're gonna get off of here in just a second. What are you guys thinking right now for this new spinoff, this Ready to Love spinoff called Make a Move, with four of the Ready to Love alum? You have Ashley from the Atlanta season, you have Vernisha from Ron's season in Houston, you have Sharice from Miami, and you have Zadia from, I believe that was the Potomac, right?
Yeah, DCT. Yeah.
What did you make of that, Sean? What did you make of the spinoff? Do you think that looks like it's going to be interesting? Will you be following it?
I mean, it's women from the show, but I saw some of the guys from past season Ready to Love too. I saw LJ, I saw Naeem, I saw
Mhm.
yeah, LJ and Naeem.
I
So
think they
I
might have
mean,
been coming up as friends visiting because that seemed like that was a visiting, like
they,
just like the
they may
way
have
Ready
been.
to Love has meet the friends. I don't think those were the guys they were dating because my understanding, all the men were from
So okay,
Louisiana.
so I guess my premise is who's moving to New Orleans? Is it the women or is it the men? Because I thought the men were already there.
Right. That's why I'm saying that none of the guys that you just named are guys that they're dating. So yes, it's the
So yeah,
premise is that the women, would they be willing to move to New Orleans to make things work with whatever guy that they fall in love with, I guess.
I still think Ashley needs some healing. I mean, she's still crying over the way Alex, quote unquote, she said, did
Oh,
her.
not that, not those
That's
Alexes.
what
Those
she's doing.
Alexes can be something else. Woo, Jesus. Not everybody caught that, but okay.
Yeah, I caught it.
But anywho, love you, Alex. But yeah, no, but yeah, I kind of saw that too, Sean. I feel like, and then the other thing that she said, well, the next guy, I'm just going to question him even harder. I'm going to come down on him harder. I'm like, what?
Mm,
Yeah.
Did you hear that, Jr. When Ashley said
well,
that?
yeah, but to be fair, if you're watching this Ready to Move show thinking there's going to be more love connections than they're going to be arguments, disagreements, and fireworks, then you're going to be very disappointed. I
Ooh,
think I think we're going to see more clashes with the cast than we are going to see connections.
mm.
Yeah.
And there's 25 men apparently and 4 ladies, so
Well,
Those
six to
what
odds are
one.
in the
Yeah, six
ladies'
to one.
favor, though, Jr.
they sure are. But will
Well,
they
six men
waste
to one
time like
woman.
with each other, or actually focusing on the connections? And how catty will it get if you know that what if a guy has more than one connection between the 4 women?
Oh
Like
yeah,
that's
Yeah,
going
that's
to get very catty.
six
that's
men to
gonna get
one
a little
woman.
messy. Kimberly, what are your thoughts? We got to get the other ladies' opinion. What are your thoughts? Do you think that, I mean, 25 guys for 4 women? I say the odds are in the ladies' favor. That's what I say.
I agree. It's going to be interesting for sure. I'll be watching here or there. Maybe it's a little background noise, not focusing on it 100%, but it looks good. I saw the clip and I don't know. We'll see. And my thing, I always say now, when you give these people a second chance at this type of atmosphere, especially with the matchmaker, and they can't find anyone, it's them. So they better come out of this thing with a connection, or
Mhm.
I'm going to be looking at them side eye as the problem.
Ooh.
Did you catch the question though, Aubrey, at the beginning when they showed that snippet?
No, what was the question? I'm sorry.
I think it was Ashley and somebody else talking. She said, "What do you think about these people on the social media talking about the show? I mean, us on the show, our show on Ready to Love. So they've been watching social media. They've been watching us on social media, and seeing what we're saying, what have you. Um, I don't know. I don't know whether that has any bearing on the show or not, what have you. How they move or what have you, but the dynamic 6 men to one woman, that's going to be a whole lot of brothers without a woman, but it's going to be the pick of the litter for women, I guess. It depends on the
Sounds
quality
like
of
my
men.
kind of show then, huh?
I think, this show is tipping the odds in the favor of the woman as
Well,
opposed to the man. So
yeah.
it should not be hard for her to find a man out of that, if willing.
That's a
But
Thank
that's an
you.
I don't know if
excellent point.
I don't know if Venetia's ready. I don't know if Ashley's ready. I don't know. I don't know. Venetia was kind of, I just can't do this. I mean, I don't know whether that was just a snippet and edit of something else, conversation, but I don't know.
Mm.
And then
Right.
Venetia has children, right? So
She
she would move
does.
her
Yeah, she has.
children. Would the children relocate? It's a lot to consider.
That's a major move, moving to New Orleans. And New Orleans, we know if any of you've been, I had the pleasure of going to New Orleans. There is no place in the United States that has better food than New Orleans. The people are warm, the weather's warm, but New Orleans is its own city in a lot of ways, right? It's its own city in a lot of ways, and I don't see those people that are from mecca cities like DC, Houston, Dallas, Atlanta, moving to what is basically a much smaller city in a lot of ways, to New Orleans. I don't see that. There's not the job opportunity. There's not a lot of things that these other bigger cities have that New Orleans, short of the tourism, is basically their biggest draw.
Right. So is that going to affect the income that some of these guys have then in terms of the dating process? Are we looking at guys who are going to be able to support, say, a
Mm,
Venetia with a couple of kids? Or are they going to
mm,
be more aligned with Charisse? I mean, even Charisse earns a lot of money doing what she does. But,
right.
how many guys are there that are going to out earn some of these ladies who are career professionals and earning high
Yeah.
earners? So,
Mm, good
but
question.
Yeah.
I
I mean,
ultimately think
I see
a lot
some.
of clashes because some of these guys will be attractive to more than one of these women. And how is that going to manifest in the situation?
Yeah.
Mm,
I mean,
that's an
I
excellent.
see somebody in the chat said, and she was born in New Orleans, but will not move there. So I don't know. I'm going to respectfully disagree with you, Aubrey, about
Okay.
the New Orleans food. I think to me the best food I've ever had was Charleston, South Carolina. Charleston,
Wait,
South
wait a
Carolina.
minute. Wait. You're disagreeing with me because not because of New Orleans, but
You said
because of a
you said
totally
you said
different.
you said the best food. You said the best food, New Orleans food.
Oh,
Best
you're
food, New
talking about
Orleans
the
food.
food. Oh, you're gonna disagree with me. We're gonna fight. We're gonna fight afterwards in the because nobody has better
Just
food
take
than New Orleans,
just take
baby.
a trip down to just take a trip
Nobody.
down to
And
just take a
wait a minute, Sean.
just,
And Sean, and nobody has better drinks. Okay, you've got to drink that hurricane, and then you could tell me about the food later.
but just take a trip down to Charleston, South Carolina.
Okay, I'll meet you down there. We're gonna have to do that next summer. Okay.
Well,
Oh yeah,
I
okay,
can go
sounds
too.
good
It's
to me.
only a 4 hour drive.
Hey, yeah,
Oh,
that's right.
okay.
Yeah,
And wait a
Kendra's in
minute.
North
What
Carolina.
about Savannah? Who has better food down there, Savannah or is
Well,
it
Savannah
Charleston?
and Charleston are twin cities. Savannah and Charleston, they're about an hour apart from each
But
other.
who has the better food though? Is what I'm asking.
Both of them have great seafood. Both of them have great seafood. Great
Mm,
seafood.
we're gonna have to fight about this in the
I
comments,
mean,
guys. If you're from any of these
top
cities or
notch,
have
top
visited
notch.
any of these cities, drop down in the comments and tell us because we're about to shimmy and shake on out of here. We've been up over 3 hours. So, guys, thank you, Sean, for being our special guest
Thank you.
this
I
week. I
appreciate
want
you.
to
Thank you.
thank you. You've been
Thank
marvelous,
you. Thank you so much.
meticulous
I appreciate you all.
participant.
Thank you so much.
Yes, yes,
I hope
yes.
this
And
won't be the
guys,
last time.
oh, it definitely will not be. We're going to talk a little bit about the lag that you're having, but we'll talk about that offline. We want to also thank we want to thank JR. We want to thank Ron, who was here, and Calvin, who was here. We want to thank JR, who's still here and present. Thank you for coming and gracing our stage once again. We want to thank Sister Kimberly Reviews, who's finally back from Italy and everywhere else in the world. I mean, like it must be a thing because Tommy just, as soon as the season wrapped, Tommy said he and his wife were in Italy. So did you pass by them? Did you see them out
I wish I would have. No, I never see any celebrities.
there?
It sucks.
Oh, somebody's asking about will I be reviewing it with the panel? That's something the panels will have the panelists will have to tell me. Will we be reviewing it? That's a very good question. I will be asking offline and I'll get back to you, Kiki. Um, so guys, you want to ladies first. Kimberly, did you want to tell them about your channel, what you have going on, and whether or not you'll be covering Married at First Sight this season?
Yeah, so come on over to Kimberly Reviews on YouTube. I will be doing the same live watch every Wednesday night for Married at First Sight when the season begins next month. So make sure you all are subscribing. I also post my travels, so go check out my shorts. I posted a few shorts of my time in Italy, Switzerland, and Vatican City, and other places that I've been. as well as a little food and stuff. And I also love to talk about debt freedom and just positivity in general. I do believe in being debt free and paying yourself, making yourself a bill. So I appreciate all the support and I'm glad to be back.
Amen. We're glad to have you back. I missed you, girl. I was fighting these men by
You
myself
were.
2 and 3 and 4
I
at a
was
time.
watching.
I was just wheeling. I was like, let me talk, let me talk.
You held it down. You did great. And I saw Kia Simone as well. So I was watching.
Oh, thank you, thank you. And Kimberly, do you want to share with the viewers something that you a compliment? And I was so pleased to hear you tell me this about a certain family member. If not, it's okay.
Oh yeah, my mother watches, so I'm not sure if she made it in because I hadn't been looking at the comments. But yes, my mother be watching us, y'all, because she tells me what we say.
Oh my goodness, I did not know that. I don't know which one of these viewers is Kimberly's mother, but that is
Right.
so awesome. That is so awesome. Thank you for that, Kimberly. Now
Yeah.
over to JR. JR, tell us what you got going on your channel. Tell us about your Instagram. Tell us everything you want us to know.
Okay, JRX TV Instagram is where you'll find health, wealth, well-being, a lot of stuff to help you on your fitness journey, motivational videos and things of that nature. And my YouTube is focused on the other aspect of well-being, which is more to do with relationships. And sometimes people don't equate relationships to well-being, but it's very important. If you have problems in your relationship, it can sometimes spill over into your personal life and affect your eating, your lifestyle, your training, your gym, all that type of stuff. So yeah, they're on separate platforms, but for the relationship reviews, conversations that we have regularly, weekly, check my YouTube out, JRX TV. And for any health, fitness, well-being, I adopt a holistic approach. Check out the Instagram and you'll see a lot of things that might help you on your journey too.
Well, thank you. Thank you so much for that. And Sean, did you want to tell our viewers if they're looking for you, where they can find you at?
Well, thank you so much,
Sean said,
Roro, for real for the compliment. I appreciate it. Thank you so much. Shout out to her. But I guess I'm the only one that's not a YouTube blogger. But anyway, I do have an IG. You can find me on the IG at S, which is my first initial, Andre, which is my middle name, S Andre S 1906, which stands for the year of the fraternity I'm a member of. If you know anything about fraternity life, what have you, I'm a member of Alpha Phi Alpha Fraternity Incorporated. But anyway, you can find me there on IG at SANDRES 1906. So if you ever find me, just hey, hit me up, what have you. I'll follow you back, and we can engage in a dialogue. And I'm once again thankful, Aubrey, for counting out robbery to ask me to be on your panel. I appreciate you so much.
oh, you're more than welcome, and thank you for agreeing. You've been a very great addition, and we will be asking you back. Um,
Yes.
I just wanted to say, I wanted to give a special shout out again to Monique King. Monique, while we're podcasting, I'm doing multiple things. And I wanted to make sure that I let everybody know that I appreciate your super chat for $5. You have an excellent point. I don't know who said that, but that was a very wise lady, I think. And now, guys, if you haven't already liked the video, please take this extra moment to like the video. It is so important that we have these likes to keep us in the algorithm and keep coming back. And make sure you've subscribed. JR, you can tell them. Would you tell them what the things are to do? Because you know it really well.
What the things are to do with what? Sorry. Like, share, and
Might be
subscribe.
sleep. Is that the
Right,
2 o'clock in
right.
England?
Let me say it 3 times. Let me say it
You might
3
be sleep. Is
times.
that the 2 o'clock a.m.?
Help them out, Kimberly. Help them out. Help them out, Kimberly.
You might be over there
Say it 3
snoring.
times, JR.
Say it 3 times. But like, share, and subscribe.
You know
That's
the
it,
ladies
guys.
love the
That's
voice.
it. That's it. That's all we've got. I'm about to fall off my couch right now. Good night. We're shimmy and shaking on out here. Everybody say bye.
Bye.
Take care.
It's been fun.
All right, man.
Bye now.